we're in. And I cannot see how many people are in the room, though.
Because I don't see any.
Oh, no, I'm saying it's blocked with the thing.
Nothing.
Just the air thing. It covers the whole top of my screen.
Oh, hit X on it.
Well, that's why I know. 9 people came to my party. 6 people. Wow. Already bored 3 people. 12 people. Okay, wait. It goes 9, 6, 12. Everybody's showing up in groups of 3s. Threesomes only. Hello, everybody. Great round today. Yes, thank you. And hello, and hello, and hey, and hello. And 22 people. Oh, my God. It's filling up.
33. Still 3.
30. It's all
36.
36. It's nothing but threesomes in the room. Hello, Benita. We'll see you in 1 week. I know, CCR 39. It's still groups of 3s. I have nothing but threesomes coming in the room. 48, 48, 52. Blew it. But that was like 12 updates in a row in groups of 3s. CCR was great, but I'm playing even better at the Leadstone this weekend so far. Had a really good round today, y'all. Hello. Everyone's a threesome except for you. I think so. You're watching in the bathtub. Mike, I'm flattered. By the way, I got someone watching in the bathtub. Hey, so someone's watching me from their bathtub. Is anybody watching me from their shower? Or in the porta potty? Let's see.
Hey, remember there's kids.
Okay. As like we've discussed earlier, everybody poos. Right? That there's a book that even says specifically that. Oh, you got how was it taking down the hardest course on tour? Yeah, I shot under par on the hardest course on tour. Shot a 10-30 round. I pretty much shredded it. Dan Kilgore's in jacuzzi. That's kind of like a bathtub. In a Toyota Camry, that's kind of like a port. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, thank you, Magnus. Wait, Magnus, I have a question. Because your name is Magnus. You're from Iceland, right? Please let me know if you're from Iceland. I think everybody named Magnus is from Iceland. Or that's somehow racist. I don't know. Probably is. But yeah, I shredded the course today. I mean, shredded, it's all relative, right? Because there were a few players out there that shot better for the round, but not many. At least I'm not in the bathtub. I don't know. That could be one of these days. One of these days, I'll do a live stream with my OnlyFans. That implies I have an OnlyFans. I'll start an OnlyFans and do a live stream because everybody, everyone out there is like, I really want to see a 52-year-old dude in a bathtub. I have not played. Hey, you're in a bathtub full of Stokely barbecue sauce. Yes. I don't think I've played Heritage, but I have played all over Texas. So actually told me that I would be here in Iceland. You are in Iceland. I knew it. Every single person named Magnus is in Iceland. It's that, and you're like a Viking. When you were 7, you were way stronger than I am now. No, I've played all over Texas, though. Texas is great, and there is a market for everything. So I'll tell you all a horribly gross story. Prepare to be grossed out, everybody. In fact, if you don't want to be grossed out, okay, you've been warned. So when I put out my book, I actually looked into what would the cost be of my autobiography, right? What would the cost be if my book came with a centerfold? And I thought it would be hilarious because, basically, I was going to be on a beach with nothing but a disc covering me with wind blowing through my hair. That was my plan because I was gonna have a centerfold. And if I was like 23 years old and totally ripped and handsome, like that's not funny. That's awful. But it was going to be funny because I was old and I wasn't as good a shape as I am now. And I truly looked into it, and it turned out that they could do it. However, it would be almost exactly 1/3 of my book profits would have gone to the centerfold, and I decided not to do it. It was a financial decision, but I looked into it. That's right. I forgot the heritage course is in Belton, right? How did I decide on that cut roll around the water tower? Sure. So, like, you have to actually be there to look at it. Well, first off, it wasn't a cut roller. A cut roller would have been the wrong play because that would have implied a sidearm, a right-handed sidearm that went left to right. And the cut rollers, 99% of the time when people throw cut rollers, they're throwing the wrong shot. And I can explain it all now, but I'll have a video out probably on Tuesday. But the vast majority of times, I mean, I'm talking 97% of the times that you see a pro disc golfer throwing a sidearm cut roller on their approach, there is an approach shot that every single player that's ever come to one of my seminars within 5 minutes is doing better than any pro is throwing the cut roller for that type of shot, because it doesn't make any sense. The cut roller is almost always wrong. Way easier to explain in the video, but basically that water tower is so much bigger than it looks. Like the idea of like throwing an Anheuser around it, it's not an option. You'd have to just be there to see it. But basically, you'd be throwing an Anheuser up, they'd be falling like 40 feet short of the basket. There was no air shot there. It was the roller was the only shot, but it was super easy shot. I know I could have done the thing. I should get a fig leaf stamped on a disc. Wait, go back. I should get a fig leaf stamped on a disc and use that disc to cover up. Wow. That's biblical. Yeah, I know. Let the jokes go on, like would a mini have sufficed? I don't know. But I didn't do it. I chose money over an epic attempt. Your barbecue failed last weekend. You have brisket and pulled pork about to finish in an hour. Trying the Stokely sauce tonight. Come back. Okay, first off, if anybody out there ordered Stokely sauce, and let me show you real quick. If any of you have ordered the Stokely sauce, which is the Texas smoky, which one's this one? The Carolina vinegar. You see the smoky had the D on it. Carolina vinegar had the I on it. The Kansas City sweet has the S on it. And of course, California spicy has the C on it. Please give me a review and post pictures to your social media eating the sauce and tell people where to buy it. All right.
Roll that beautiful sauce footage.
Roll that beautiful sauce footage. Where does Northwoods rank among the hardest courses you've played? Oh boy, it is damn close to as hard as Eagles Crossing. Eagles Crossing is really hard. Northwoods is really hard. They're very comparable. I think that Richard talks about it's hard. Like, you guys have no idea. I shot 1 under, which was like the 1 under was 1,030 rated, and you don't even understand like how good 1 under is. Like, it's 1 under. Like, how could it be hard to just go out and par? The thing about Northwoods that's so sick is you can't really just play conservative for par, because you have a hole that's like 350 feet through the woods, hit a landing zone, and then you have to make a 90-degree left turn for 350 feet through the woods. Well, you can't just play that hole for par, because in order to get a par, you have to first get to the first landing zone. So you have to execute the first shot. If you don't get to the landing zone, then you have to pitch out because it's thick woods. And then so if you get to the landing zone, even playing conservative, you still got to hit the next shot to get up to the hole. Like, there's no bailouts on that course. Every hole if you play too conservative, you're taking a bogey. Like you have to like go for stuff. It's so hard. And like every par out there felt really, really good. And I had a bogey. No, I had two bogeys, a double bogey, and 5 birdies, I think. And like felt like like that was major dopamine. It felt so good, even though it felt like it's 1 under. Like doesn't seem like that would be so crazy. Everyone gets very excited when I mention Jeff Malton. He's here in Southern Ontario. Yeah, Jeff is one of the very best players to ever do it. He was, well, first off, he was one of the top players in the world, period. He was also one of the top finesse players in the world, period. And there had been debates at the time, but he was in a small group of people that were the best long putters. Like you want to talk about like the Circle 2 putters, which on Mach 3 baskets would be like the equivalent of say 45 feet and out instead of 33 feet and out today, because the baskets had to be so much softer. Jeff Malton, Mike Moser, Ken Climo, of course, is always in every discussion, were the best long putters of an entire generation. Jeff was sick. Yeah, and he's my friend. I love Jeff. I say, screw the money, do the centerfold. Yeah, I know. And by the way, that is the extent of my swearing. I came to the conclusion that I'm going to do these live streams profanity free, which I love the use of language for emphasis, but I also have some people that have contacted me, and because of their family situations, there's reasons why it makes sense not to use profanity. And so that, what you posted is fine. That's about as far as I was going to go. Basically, here's what I looked at. Because I have no use of language. If you read my book, I say in the very first page, this book's not for kids. My second book is not even for young adults. Yeah, you got to be like 40 before you're old enough to read my next book. No problem with that, right? But my live stream, I want to be just completely for everybody. And I don't think I lose anybody by not swearing in it. But I do lose people if I do. So I'm going profanity free. But if we go out to dinner, those rules don't apply. Let's see. This is but I think you like the course at Kodiak, Woodland, and Limerick, Maine. I bet I would. I'm sure I would. I love all the courses in Maine. All the private courses up there are it's a special place to play disc golf. Do I hold any classes in Texas? Yes, I held a number of classes in Texas this year and previous years, and clinics, dozens of them over the years. But in October, I am leaving the country at the end of October for at least a year to go compete in Australia, New Zealand, and Thailand, and Cambodia, and then the entire Euro Tour next year. So it's going to be a while before I come back. All right, so I got an announcement for everybody. Check this out. And so I'm doing this, first off, every Friday night for the month of August, and I'm already pretty sure I'm going to keep doing them. But I'm going to do for the month of August, I'll be going live on doing like a live stream. And every single week, I'll have some special thing for sale, either something unique or something on sale or something. So this week, couple things. My Tour Series Wizard and Tour Series Marvel, which is, this is the Australian version. There's the US and European version. Both of these discs are available in 6-packs and 12-packs at pretty big discounted prices. The reason this is important is because when you practice, the more identical discs you have to practice with, the more reps you can get in, because there's a smaller amount of time going back and retrieving discs. The more you have to practice with, the better. It also is, when you buy two and you lose one, now you're stuck with just one putter, or they get beaten up faster. So there's a great chance to buy multiple putters at a much discounted rate at scottstokely.net. And I had Bergs up last week and Bergapalooza, both my Tour Series and Stockbergs, and they're still there. We decided to leave them up a little bit longer. I think we actually added more to the thing because I know they generally sell out pretty fast. But there's Bergs available at scottstokely.net. You're stoked for the seminar on Monday. If no forehand ready, get one. Brent, not only will you have a sidearm at the end of the seminar, if you don't leave with a sidearm, I'll PayPal you your money back before you leave. Nobody that I teach leaves without a sidearm. It's absolutely impossible. The thing that's going to bug you, I don't know how long you've been playing, but you're going to be mind blown when you realize how actually easy it is. When I show it to you, you're going to go, oh, that's it. My suspicion is that there's some bad information out there, and it'll screw you up. Yeah, it'll screw you up. So yeah, you promise you'll have a sidearm, and I've never even seen you throw, and I can promise you'll have a sidearm so easily. Settle a debate for me. Glide number. It's mean how high will a disc glide, or how long will it continue gliding? That's a fantastic question. And I got a $2.99 super sticker. So now I really need to answer the question. I believe the glide is more how long it's going to continue gliding more than anything. Some of these terms are kind of subjective, and different companies rate them differently, and different players who are testing the discs have different standards. And it's a very broad guideline, but basically glide means how long it will stay up in the air. For example, a harp and a baobab, which I'm about to announce. I'm throwing baobabs from AGL. They're unbelievable. They're so good. Bergs have no glide. Like they fly and then go and then stop, which is terrible if you're trying to get more distance, but it's fantastic if you're trying to make the disc stop. And typically, if you can reach a target, it's better to have a disc that's going to go and stop than one that's going to glide in most situations, if you can reach it. So glide is more how long it will continue penetrating forward. I do think it's also related to a lack of fade as well, because the more a disc fades, the more the disc is tailing off to the side at the end. So less fade is more forward penetration, which also results in a disc gliding more, but it's subjective. Speak on snap, please. You need distance in your old age. You need distance at every age. Okay, so here's the thing about snap. Snap has nothing to do with sound, okay? Snap is two different things, and it depends on if you're the person throwing or you're the person watching the throw. So when you're throwing, snap is not, well, in neither case is it an audible sound. Sometimes players throw the disc makes a out of their hand. Other times it's dead quiet. It's still snap. So snap, forget the sound, snap. To a person throwing, basically it's like cracking a whip. The whip starts at your foot, goes up your body, down the arm. It ends in your fingertips. This is the last end of the whip. This is the lash of the whip. If you were going to whip somebody, you would whip them with the lash of the whip, because this part of the whip is going far faster than this part. The end's accelerating the fastest of the entire whip. It is centrifugal force rushing the blood to the end of your fingers. It's putting strain on your wrist. It's the disc ripping off the fingers, and the disc coming off with a thump. And that's a feeling, not a sound. It's a feeling of it popping off your hand. The whole throw is supposed to be smooth. Obviously, everybody knows you want to be smooth when you throw, right? Yes, you do want to be smooth when you throw mostly. You're smooth up until the disc leaves your hand. When the disc leaves your hand, there's nothing smooth about it. It's a violent action. And again, if you were cracking a whip, the handle of the whip is going 25 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour. The tip of the whip's breaking the speed of the sound because it accelerates, and the end is boom. That's what the snap is, the person throwing. When you're observing snap it's a real simple thing. It's the disc leaving the hand disproportionate to what it looks like the body just did. In other words, when a person steps up and they do the motions and they run up on the T-pad and their arm goes across their body, and based on the speed of their arm, that disc should probably have flown 150 feet, but then it flies 250. And it's like an illusion, like, wow, that disc came out of the hand faster than it was supposed to. It almost looks weird because it comes out faster than it was supposed to based on what you just watched. That's snap. The same way, when someone cracks a bullwhip, it's you see them doing something that isn't that hard. Certainly no part of their body or the beginning of the whip is traveling at the speed of sound, yet there's a part of it that travels at the speed of the sound. With the case of a whip, it makes the noise. In the case of a disc, it's the leaving of the hand faster. So those are the two things that snap are. Now I'll say one more thing about snap because this is really interesting. Okay, this is an illusion. And don't click off when I say this till I explain, because you're going to disagree at first, most of you. But snap doesn't feel good. Like, snap's not a good feeling whatsoever. And it's like, how could that be, right? Everyone loves the feeling of snap. Our brains have been tricked. When you get snap out of your hands, again, it's centrifugal force rushing the blood to the end of your fingers. It's strain on your wrist. It's this sharp piece of plastic ripping off your skin. Snap is this violent act that doesn't physically feel good to your hand. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't. If you could sit there on the couch while you're watching TV and you had a button that you could push and then feel snap in your hand, you wouldn't sit there pushing that button because, oh, this is good. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Like, no, it doesn't feel good. But we connect the snap to that went far. That hit its line. We got a birdie. We reached the hole we've never reached before. We out threw our buddy. Whatever it is, like, we make all these connections to all the awesome things that happen when we have snap. And then we trick our brains, or our brains are tricked into thinking that snap feels good. But it's not. It's not actually a good feeling. It's violent. It's just that the result is so good that's what we believe. Thank you, Andy. I love that. Hey, I'm anybody that I'm not turning anything down. So, but that's, but awesome. So yeah, so that's what snap is. So snap's very complex. And by the way, if you search for Scott Stokely snap on YouTube, you will see by far the best snap video out there. Which one is the most stable? Which one of what? Oh, of these two? The Wizard. The Wizard. They actually are both basically perfectly stable. I think they both have a turn of 0. I feel like the Wizard's a little more stable. The Marvel's a little bit flatter, but they're basically the same.
What about the Bergs that you have on the side right now? The K1?
The K1 Bergs are a little bit overstable. I'm sorry, the K3's turn. I caught your hiccups. I didn't know they're contagious. The K3's turn over a little bit. They're a little bit understable. You know how there's with different plastics make discs fly differently. Am I coming to Vermont? Of course I'm coming to Vermont. There's only 2 states in the whole country that I've never been to, Alaska and Vermont. And I cannot wait to go. And I am pretty sure I'm qualified for Green Mountain. I'm especially this weekend. I'm playing well. As long as I hang in there, I'm qualified for Green Mountain. As we're getting late in the season, I'm really pushing for qualification. So I'm going to be on the cusp of Maple Hill, which, it's funny because like I got 2 feelings about maybe being on the fringe of qualifying for like Maple Hill. And the first is God, this sucks that I'm doing my best and I'm still maybe on the fringe of not even qualifying to play in this tournament I wanted to play in for years and years and years. Like, that's so frustrating because I'm playing well. Like, most of my tournaments, and I've been on the edge of the money line at these tournaments. So it's frustrating that my play hasn't like solidified my spot. But on the flip side, it's so exciting to see how good everybody is. Like, the fact that everybody's so, like, the level of play is so high that, I've been shooting, about 1,010 golf. And the fact that that's barely putting me in the top 100, 1,010 rated golf is like, it's like my sport's all grown up now. You playing in Pittsburgh? I'm not playing the Pittsburgh tournament. I think that's the one that's after Worlds. I am going up to visit Pat Govang in Ithaca, New York, and then I'm going to head to Vermont early. Hopefully doing some camping up there.
You need some coffee?
No, I just drank some coffee. Well, I'll get some more coffee though, but I might take some in a little bit. Do I have intentions to make a shirt, jersey, or towel to represent Blue Power at local tournaments? No. Well,
have big plans for Blue Power.
We have plans for Blue Power. The thing about Blue Power is I never formed a 501c3 because I didn't want to turn it into like a business. Like, I've never taken $1 of donations. I don't want donations. I don't want to deal with money. And I've never like sold discs or done fundraising discs and things like that, only because I just didn't want to sounds strange, but I didn't want to like businessify it. Like, my agenda for Blue Power was like, I want to do these events and teach kids with special needs, or kids and adults with special needs, how to play disc golf. That's all I want to do. And now for the last year and a few months, I've given all my prize money away to organizations, and I can just do that. And there's no stress, there's no paperwork, there's no attorneys, there's no accountants, like, super easy. Having said that, because my brand's gotten so much bigger, more and more people are reaching out to me, and I'm starting to talking to people about maybe taking this and running with it and turning it into something where I can be a spokesman for it. I still don't want to deal with any of the money, but I also know that if there's money, that if there's an organization over here that is taking in money and is taking in donations and it can get corporate money, like, that can go to good use. I didn't want to make a business out of it. You had no idea about Stokely sauce. Well, guess what? Now you do. And it's delicious. It is Stokely sauce. Okay. I don't want to brag or anything, but it is the best barbecue sauce ever. Honestly, just telling the truth. Well, at least that's my opinion. But then again, even if I didn't like it, I would probably tell you that it was, since I have $20,000 worth of barbecue sauce. By the way, this was a conversation I had with Adriana. Adriana, yell in the background. Did the conversation go like this? Hey, guess what? I got some news. I just bought $20,000 worth of barbecue sauce.
Yay.
That's pretty much how it went. I just told her one day that I bought $20,000 worth of barbecue sauce. Hey, by the way, okay, so I am going to hey, I'm not going to run ads or anything like that, but I occasionally got to pitch stuff. If you haven't seen the Stokely Universe, the first piece of clothing in the Stokely Universe clothing line. Oops. This is easily the coolest disc golf shirts ever. At scottstokely.net, we'll have all sorts of other stuff coming out, and we got 6 and 12 packs of Marvels and Wizards. If you want to get good at putting, you got to buy more than one of the same disc. I have always, and you guys know this, I've never once told you that my Tour Series Marvel or my Tour Series Wizard is the best putter, because that would be not true. There is no such thing as a best putter. Now, when I say not true, I don't mean that there's a better putter. What I'm saying is there's no such thing as a better putter. You have to find the putter that works for you. it doesn't mean it's the one that works for me. Me and you have different hands, different everything. So I can't tell you these are the best putters. What I can tell you is that if you like the Wizard and the Marvel, I can honestly, now that I've built credibility by telling you that that the best putter is individual, that you do need to buy a bunch of the same putter. If you want to get good, you need a bunch of the same discs to practice with. You just have to. I don't think anybody who's good at putting has 1 or 2 putters and putts. So I have 6-packs and 12-packs if you want to buy them, if you like them. If you don't like either of these 2 putters and you prefer the EMAG Judge or the Luna or something like that, cool. Go to a website and order 6 or 12 of those. And but you need a bunch of the same disc. Will I be attending the Skins Championship? $50,000 to the winner? You mean the one on the 3rd week of October in Missouri? Okay, Mike, I'm going to tell you something, but don't let any of the other 90 people in the room hear this. Okay, this is between me and you. All right, I don't want to ruin this. I'm going to win. But I don't want to spoil it for everybody. So just don't keep it down. Definitely don't post that to Facebook or YouTube, because here's the thing. A lot of players are coming out to this because it's going to be minimum of $100,000 total Skins tournament. And I don't want Paul and Ricky and Eagle and Simon and Dickerson and Calvin and I don't want to break their hearts now, knowing they don't have a chance of beating me out there. It's not fair. There's nothing worse that you can do to someone than to take away hope. So don't tell them that I'm going to win. Let them dream. Of course I'm going to be there. What did I say? This guy used the tower roller today. I used the Berg. The reason for the Berg, by the way, that shot, the video doesn't do it justice. There was no air shot around the tower. Where you were sitting, everyone in the group's oh, you're pinched, because there isn't a shot around there. There isn't a cut roller either. The only shot was the shot that I threw, which I'll make a video about in a couple of days. But here's the thing. It had to be a Berg. The reason why is if you watch the video, that disc hits at about this angle, right? Well, if you take a beveled edge disc, and if you zoomed in and there's the beveled edge, the point edge of the disc, and then I landed at that angle, look what's happening. The entire flat surface of the disc hits the ground. That disc doesn't hit and cut to the right. That disc hits and just slides out upside down. So there is no beveled edge disc in the world that would have worked like the Berg, or works like the Berg does for that shot. Now, that doesn't mean the Polecat and the Birdie and the Rattler, if Discraft still makes it, any of the non-beveled edge discs, Super Puppies, would work. So I prefer the Berg for that. But hands down, a non-beveled edge disc works better. Not just works better, it's the only disc that works for that shot. It's got to be non-bevel. What if I told you Scott Northwoods was changed to be a little easier than last year? I've heard that they've cut out some of the trees and some of the fairways. I'm kind of mad about it because aside from one tree, I didn't miss a single fairway all day. I punched through every single fairway out there. And so the parts that used to be rough that they've cleaned up weren't even in play for me. So I kind of wish they were this time. Let's see. Just want to mention these since you're here live. Me and a friend were watching the Skins match together where he won the big prize money. We're both 30 years old and we cried like real men watching. Dude, I just stopped crying yesterday. So you're totally good.
And by yesterday, you mean this morning?
By yesterday, I mean I happened today. And by today, I mean the drive home. No, it was very emotional for me. I'm going to drop a little hint. There's a documentary coming out about that shot. It's an entire documentary because that shot wasn't, there's a reason why it was emotional to me, and y'all don't know the whole story. But there's a long story about why that shot was such a big deal. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a lot to this that in fact the documentary as of right now is called Not Just a Shot, because it wasn't just a shot. So I'm glad I made you cry. I hope you cried in front of your girlfriends and then they made fun of you. I'm from the 70s, so forgive my old school approach to I shouldn't say that. I know I've become one of these old people that's getting so out of touch that I say things and then I go, am I allowed to say that?
No.
No,
if you
you're not.
wonder it, then you're not allowed.
No, yeah. Well, that's the problem with the live streams. Like I said, I'm not going to be no profanity in the live streams. I swore off that. But I've actually I run stuff by multiple people before posting them because
Here you go. Ron says, I'll allow it. Carry on.
okay, thank you, Ron. Because the thing is, I've been more polarizing in the past, and it's funny because I'm the same exact nice, loving person I have been, right? It's just that I used to be more vocal on my opinions, and apparently that was polarizing. And the problem is, I didn't mind that part, but the problem was I wasn't making any money being that way. And so I've opted to tone down 8% of what I say and do. But I cut out that 8% and I'm making 6 times as much money now. So I'm I can live without it. But I will tell you this, there's a lot of things we've talked about that we said, you know what? Once I'm actually not on tour and right now I do feel like I'm representing the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So I feel like I have a responsibility to represent. It's like any other athlete. I'm a representative of the league that has allowed me these opportunities. So I won't be controversial. But a year from now or 2 years from now, when this is just me traveling, doing my thing, I might go back to being a little more vocal on my opinions. They're not bad. It's just that people take sides, and my side won't necessarily match everyone. Coming back to competitive casual disc golf after a long break and drastically different weight. And a drastically different weight. Do I recommend having a more stable or understable to figure out your timing again? Okay, so question, James. Are you saying that the discs are a different weight than you used to, or you are a different weight? But please respond to that, and I'll address whichever one of those is true, or whichever one you were referring to. Your friend is very stubborn and does not like when I try to help him with form technique. Any helpful tips when it comes to addressing friends' shortcomings? Yeah, if they don't want to help, beat them. That's it. You can't.
Beat them into submission.
What?
Beat them into submission.
Yeah, beat them. Just keep beating them. No, the thing is that some people don't want to get better. Some people just don't care. It's just not important. And if that's not important to them, it's there's you can't push it being important onto somebody else. It's something that they'll have to, if they want help, they'll ask. I will tell you something I've learned, and this is the truth. I will not offer players unsolicited advice, no matter what I see them doing, no matter how easy of a fix it is. What I've learned is I don't know if there's been a single time where I've approached somebody and said, hey, here's what you're doing. If you change this, it'll work better. And then they just did it and were like, oh my God, thank you so much for showing me. I let them come to me. So there's players out there that I watch and I just think, oh my God, if even some pro players who are really good but have glaring flaws in their game or things they can't do, I'm like, I could fix that and like that, but I won't approach them. But if they approach me, I would never turn them down. Let's see. The manga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that okay? By the way, is that like
that's the clean stuff.
Is what?
That's the clean stuff.
Is that the clean stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
I have a filter that'll make you look like that.
Oh, really?
Think we should put some up?
I don't know. When will I arrive in Iowa? I'll arrive in Iowa on Tuesday night, I think. And I'm doing a clinic there. I'm about to announce a clinic on Thursday night in Iowa. I'm doing a seminar on Monday, but that's already sold out. Coming back to Caliber soon. Oh God, I love Caliber. It's still my number 3 course in the world. Caliber is unbelievable. But no, I will not be back anytime for a long time because I'm leaving the country in October, and I don't know when I'm coming back.
We're gonna go through after California, but we had COVID.
Yeah, we had COVID, so we couldn't. Actually, we almost stopped there on the way back. We were driving through Coeur d'Alene, that was when I was just getting over COVID, and she was just starting it. By the way, I'm leaving for a year, but I don't come a year from October. I don't have plans to come back. I don't have plans to stay gone either. But there's so many places in the world to see, and I can do disc golf so many places that I don't like. I can't imagine, after being gone a year thinking, oh, I need to get back to some place I've been for 50 years, when there's all these places I've never been to. So I don't know when I'm coming back. You'll be in Thailand for the 3 tournaments in late January, early February. Hope to see you there. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be competing in Thailand and Cambodia. I'm going to the Cambodia Open. I can't believe we're going to the Cambodia Open. It's going to be the best. Always practice with identical discs. Yeah, couldn't agree more, Ron. Having identical discs means you can work on shots and not have to change things in between throws, except for the mechanics. Have I ever lost a putting putter? So,
oh, that's 2.
No, I'm not yawning. I was crying about the skins match, but I caught myself. No, so I don't get I don't get wired or committed to any one disc ever. I purposely, in fact, will never throw one disc for an extended period of time. I carry 2 marbles with me. I just make sure I carry a backup. Who knows, just in case during rounds. But I have a bunch of other marbles, and when I practice putting, I grab a bunch of marbles and the 2 in my bag, and I putt with them. And then they go back in the truck, and I just grab 2 of them, throw them in my bag because they're all the same. They're not different, and so it's getting committed to one disc is so, I'm not good with commitment anyways. But I don't want to ever have one disc that when it's lost, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Nice Scooby roll. Use that shot for Safari Putting League. Yeah, it's such an easy shot once you know how to use it. Which, by the way, that shot I threw on the water tower, every single player that played in the 70s and up to the mid 80s knew that shot because it was used in other disc sports commonly. But let's see. Okay, some discs turn faster than others when they flip. In your experience, what attributes of a disc continue to this the most? Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think there's just one specific rule on the discs becoming understable. If you took this disc here and it flew perfectly straight and you put it on a lathe and you basically took a tiny bit off the bottom of it, it's most likely going to turn more, become more understable. So changing that will make it more understable. However, this disc right here is much deeper than this, yet they both basically fly straight. So it's not that this flies one way and the mere fact that it was flat alone made it turn more. It doesn't. I think there's so many different things that come into play that affect the flight characteristics, because you have the flight plate thickness, you have rim thickness, you have rim configuration, you have a distribution of weight in different areas, and there's so many variables. I don't think there's just one. I tend to think that even at the highest level with the people that are manufacturing discs, there's still guesswork involved. And the reason I say this is if there wasn't guesswork involved, all the big companies that have been doing this a long time, every one of their discs would be winners. And it's clearly not the case. They put out a lot of discs, some good, some bad. I think it's still more art than science. So the people that are at the largest companies that are designing discs are super knowledgeable. They're the most knowledgeable people in the world at this, but I still think there's some things that aren't known, in my opinion. Or I'm wrong and they know it and they're just not sharing because why would they want to share? Just had your best round since starting the May class with the plus 4 home course. So hacked, finally getting over 250 feet of distance. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so by the way, what he's talking about is he's in my 6-month online disc golf class. I'm currently teaching 6 classes, 6 online classes. All of them are 6 months long. And I'll be opening up more classes in a couple months, the new classes. So you watched the snap video and played around at your local course, ended up with a blister. There you go. Snap is violent. So the fact that you have a blister is not a bad thing. You know, eventually blisters will turn into calluses and calluses turn into throwing without blisters. But yeah, especially if you go from no snap to having snap like this, and it's not a gradual improving over time, but you make a change and get snap. Yeah, I mean, you have this area that hasn't been you have an area that's tender because it hasn't had the disc been ripping off it. Is tomorrow the last round? No, I think we play on Sunday. I know there's a final on Sunday. I don't know how many people make the final, but I'm sitting in 33rd right now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm in 33rd place right now. So if it cuts to a final, it won't be a final like top 4. It'll be a final number of people. I suspect as long as I play well tomorrow, I'll get to play on Sunday too. There was only one tournament this year, I believe, that had a cut. It was the Dynamic Discs Open, which I also I made the cut on that one too. Finished 38th or something. Have I ever been stronger than I am now? What's more important, strength or mobility? I don't know if, I mean, in terms of just strength, I'm sure when I was younger, I was stronger, but I'm probably in better overall shape now than I've ever been in my life because of all the different things I'm doing. I'm so diligent about taking care of my body now because I'm trying to compete with a bunch of 12-year-olds on tour. No, I'm sorry, that was rude. A bunch of 13-year-olds on tour. And the 13-year-olds on tour are all, they got youth on their side and I don't. And so what I've been focused on doing was like, well, what can I control? What can't I control? Well, I can't control being 52 years old. That's it. I can't control that. I can't control how much I practice because my body only has so much in it. But what I can control is what I eat. I can control, how much sleep I'm getting. I can control how much I'm working out. I can control my weight. And so the things that I can control, I felt like if I need to be perfect on these. And I'm, by the way, not perfect. I'm not measuring out portions and macros and reading every nutritional chart. But I mean, I'm very healthy. And because I can control that. And that's why I'm able to compete. One reason. I am playing with Yuli tomorrow. Again, I played with him today. He's such a good guy. I'm such a big fan. How do I approach a tournament that has 2 courses that vary like Ledgestone? I don't approach a tournament. I approach every single hole. Every hole is its own unique challenge. You got to have, what is the mathematics of that hole? What is the right play and the right strategy on that hole? So first you got to prepare and learn the hole. Now here, I will tell you something I have done. So one of the things that I did at the Eureka course, if you've seen the course, that's the one that's got every hole has out of bounds on it. It's super long, but I throw farther backhands than 85% of players on tour, and I throw a farther sidearm than 95 or 98% of players on tour. So distance isn't a problem for me. I can reach every hole out there that's reachable, or every par four I can reach into. Not a problem. In fact, pretty easily I can reach these holes. Yet at the Eureka course, I played the course and I conceded, I think, 6 holes before the tournament and said, I'm playing these holes for par. And I'm not going to birdie them. No matter what I do, I won't birdie them, because I'm not going to throw a shot that puts me in a position for the second shot to even get there, because there's so much risk. So a lot of it is that pre-strategy of, I am going to concede that. I did the same thing at the round today. I shot a 10-30 round. Like, it's a really high level round for me. And on the second hole, I laid one up from like 50 feet. And Yuli was joking with me. He's like, dude, you could have run that. And I go, nope. I made the decision when I saw how hard that course was. I made the decision that my strategy at Northwoods was par, birdie, par, birdie, par, birdie. It wasn't to be. The mindset wasn't going to be aggressive. So I went into the mindset of, I got a 50-foot putt, 50, and had a little bit of a ceiling. Would have been kind of tough. Little slope behind the basket. I was mentally in layup mode, and this is why I've been playing so well, because I do have a strategy for playing these holes. So basically learning the holes, developing a strategy, and then committing to that strategy in the tournament, which is really hard to do because I don't like laying up. I didn't lay up for 40 years, and now I have to, because it's smart.
Dude, did you know there's a Stokely University in Tennessee?
There's a Stokely University?
Yeah.
Did they steal that from me? Wait, go look. Hold on. I found there's a Stokely University in Tennessee. Look that up, because if they started it after my 6-month online class, we're suing them. All right, everybody. Marvel and Wizards Tour Series discs. You can buy 6-packs and 12-packs at scottstokely.net. I can't tell you these are the best putters in the world. Putter is very individual, right? If I was better at sales, I would tell you that I guarantee you'll make more putts with the Marvel or the Wizard. Can't say that. Every putter out there is good. Whatever putter works for you, stick with it. However, if you like the Wizard or the Marvel, it's going to benefit you to have a stack of, like, I got packs up. I'm just put them up on the site. 6-packs and 12-packs with a big price break if you buy those, so you can actually get practice reps in. Having a dozen discs, there's nothing to compare to being able to practice. So because when you're putting and you're switching between different discs, and they have one has a bead, one doesn't, one's soft, one's hard, you're making adjustments either consciously or subconsciously based on the new disc, and then you're not repeating your mechanics over and over again. So I highly recommend that you get the 6-pack and the 12-pack, or the 12-pack of my discs, if you like my discs. Hey, by the way, I'm always straight with y'all. Like, there are times where I can tell you, like, you'll love the Lutz for hyzer flips. Like, it's great for that. The Harp is a perfect mid-range overstable disc for everybody. So with drivers and mid-ranges, it's a lot easier to say, look, this is a very true flying disc for these types of shots. So you can say this disc is universally good for everybody. Putter's the only category that it's so individual, and so God, I wish I was just a little bit better at sales. I could tell everybody that if they buy the Marvels, they'll make more putts. Let me work on that. Let me rethink that. Maybe I'll come back.
If they buy the Marvels, then you make more putts.
That's right. If you buy the Marvel, I'll make more putts. No. I mean, I'm totally joking about this. One of the things that has really done well for me is I've tried very, very hard to build up credibility with honesty, going for the long-term marketing approach. The long-term marketing approach is when I'm honest and I don't try to sell you something that, or just pitch something, that when I do come back and say, hey, by the way, y'all are going to love this thing, then you can believe me. So I feel that's the best approach. It's also, I don't know, I can't be any other way, even if I wanted to. I'm beating 66% of the youngsters, still a boss, and that big money skins win. That has to be a life highlight. I hope to have an experience like that once in your life. Yeah, well, first off, at this tournament, I think I'm beating about 75% of the youngsters. And by the way, you know who the youngsters are in the tournament? Everyone but me. I got like 10 years on the second oldest person in NPO. I mean, literally 10 years on them. I appreciate that. It was an absolute highlight. There's a documentary coming out about that shot, and it's just, yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Does that shirt come in fat boy sizes?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
They go from extra small to 4X.
Extra small all the way up to 4X. Yeah, those they're such cool shirts. I mean, they're really like, I think, you know, oh yeah, this shirt. I think this shirt right here. So here's the idea. Okay, this is going to creep you all out a little bit. But basically, here, I'm going to pull this. I'm going to go a little bit closer to this one too. Where does it go? Look at that. That's on the shirt. It's called the Stokely universe because I spent a long time talking to, his name's Creative Rob. He's an artist out of Austin, Texas. He is both Adriana and myself, our favorite artists we've ever seen. We love this guy's work. And I talked to him over lunch, and it's kind of trying to represent in a weird way like what goes on inside my brain. You know, because there's this like really weird dystopian-esque, you know, disc golf universe where it's just weird, but disc golf is at the forefront of it. And so we're going to be putting out a line of clothing and discs that are all centered around this thing. So he's interpreting me, but he's so good. Like, I'm taking no credit whatsoever for like, I didn't tell him what I wanted designed. I told him like this was all him. So quick tip on one finger forehand throws. Yeah, it's very simple. In a perfect world, two fingers are better than one because two fingers behind the rim of the disc is going to offer more resistance than one when pushing the disc forward. In a perfect world. Having said that, grip is always going to be individual. And so if you cannot get a clean and consistent release with two fingers, but the minute you put one finger on, you get a better throw with one finger. I'm the only player in the world, I think, that gives permission to throw with one finger. But you absolutely should throw with a one finger sidearm grip if you're getting a better throw. Don't let anybody talk you off this. And most of what I teach isn't like that. Most of what I teach is not, I mean, it's not, oh, well, whatever works for you is the right approach. That's nonsense. That's complete nonsense. There's a right and a wrong way to do things. It's just that grip falls outside that bubble. Grip is individual. Who are the closest friends I have on tour now? You know, oh, that's actually a really great question. I mean, I got a lot of friends, people like Ulibarri and Jeremy Colling, who I've known for a while because they're older. But most of them are younger. A lot of them are like newer friends, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten really close with, so really close. I haven't gotten really close with anybody because I've really wanted to get to know everybody. So it's like, you know, when I'm in Vegas and I saw Thomas Gilbert and Chandler Fry playing, I'm like, oh, can I join you guys? And then when I see Albert Tam, you know, and Simon Lizotte playing a practice round on the schedule, can I join you guys? But I'm Simon. I'm still close with Simon. Chandler Kramer is someone that I've really connected with. Chandler's like him and I have definitely connected. I'll tell you what, I think Albert Tam, by the way, is up there. Blair from Iceland, Newt Holland from Norway, I've gotten pretty close, you know, kind of close with. I've played a few practice rounds with Brody and Calvin and have enjoyed their company quite a bit. But I'll tell you who the funniest player on tour is. It used to be, I mean, my opinion, it used to be Matty O. I used to think it was Matty O because Matty's just absolutely hysterical. I love Matty. Bradley Williams. I've gotten to shoot 3 or 4 practice rounds with Bradley Williams in the last month, and I think he's the funniest disc golfer I know. And Calvin's funny, and Mattio's funny. A lot of them are funny, but Bradley, like, it's almost hard to play with the guy. He cracks me up so much. So I'm big fans of Bradley, and some of the older players. I mean, I've been friends. I mean, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I've been friends with Nico for a while. Love Nico too. So the older players, you know, I'm close with. It's a great question, though. I've purposely tried not to find a group of 3 or 4 people and hang out with them. I've tried to, because I got 1 year to play with all these kids, and so that's what I've tried to do. You do shots of Stokely sauce before every round. We call it birdie sauce around here. Now, yes, do it. Shots of Stokely sauce. I love that idea. Here, I'll even hold them up. See the letter D? That is Texas Smoky, Texas Hickory. There's letter I, which is the Carolina vinegar. S is for Kansas City sweet. And C is for California spicy. This barbecue sauce is available at scottstokely.net. And it's so good. And if you buy it, please, when you get it and you eat it and you taste it, please put stuff out in your social media. Tell people about it. All right. About to buy one of your difference in materials. I don't know.
Okay, so velocity is.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I'm finding out.
Velocity is the polyester.
Velocity is polyester.
The super stretch or the super flex is the stretchier one. It has
okay. The super. Okay, I seem to recall that the super flex is the stretchier one, and what's the last one?
The other one's recycled.
Oh, and I believe the other one's recycled. Yeah, I honestly don't know the difference. I mean, I'm so bad about
yours
stuff.
Is velocity in case anybody.
I don't know the difference on anything. I generally buy, you know, my rule of thumb with almost everything is the most expensive version is overpriced, and the least expensive version doesn't work as well, and the one in the middle is always the right one. I tend to follow that rule with everything in life. Pittsburgh World, footfall versus the elderly of the future. Yeah, that's one of those things. I've put that out of my head. It only took me like 5 years to do it. Let's see. Some of us don't know who I am. Elaborate, please. Here, grab my book, Adriana, por favor. It's in the backpack. Okay, I'll make it really quick. I had been playing disc golf forever. I played my first round of disc golf on the world's first course when it was the only disc golf course in the entire world. So I was there at the beginning of the permanent courses of the sport. They had played versions of disc golf at tournaments before that point, but there was no permanent course in the ground yet. So I started at the beginning. I toured for 8 years in the 90s. I won 17 world and national titles in disc golf and distance. Never won Open Pro Worlds. I finished second place to Climo twice, but I won 17 total titles, U.S. Opens, 4-time national pairs, 2-time world pairs. Doubles used to be a bigger thing. Bunch of world distance things. I set the world distance record in 1995, Guinness Book record. I broke it in 1998. Actually, I first set the junior world distance record in 87. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm old. And then I set the sidearm distance record in 2001 that stayed for 13 years. I wrote my autobiography, Growing Up Disc Golf, and it's won awards and it's done really well. And now I'm the most prolific teacher in the sport by a long shot. 500 plus clinics, 280 plus special needs classes, hundreds of YouTube videos. So I've done the most teaching of anybody. Now I'm back on the pro tour. And after a 20-year absence, I rejoined the pro tour, and I'm hanging at this Ledgestone Open. I'm in 33rd place after 2 rounds. After taking a 20-something year break from the tour, I'm not winning, but I'm kind of keeping up. There we go. Am I still worried about the wet conditions game after round one of Isle of the Wild? No, I don't have a problem at all in the rain. I had a problem at Idlewild because I went out. I think it was the second round of Idlewild, wasn't it? And when it rained, whatever it was, I messed up. My umbrella blew off my cart, and it turned out I left the top of the cart open, and everything just got completely drenched. So towels, discs, not keeping anything dry, and I was just toast. I had no chance at that point. I can't throw wet discs. Doesn't mean I can't play in the rain. In fact, I just finished ninth place at the CCR last weekend in the Open Division, and we played some rain golf. I have no problem in the rain, unless everything in my bag gets soaked, and then I'm toast. And that's what happened. So, but that's my fault. It's not bad luck. I let it happen. You went to the South Bend Clinic May-ish and got your first ace yesterday. Nice. That's beautiful. I love that. Oh, last May-ish in South Bend. I remember right across the street from Rum Village, right? Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Awesome. Let's see. You're just a shot at Scott Stokely. Nothing more. I've been called worse. I've been called a lot worse. Thank you for your knowledge. You're very welcome. I love sharing. It's one of those things. I'll tell you the funny thing about sharing knowledge, though, is that I believe that because I'm older, I have a lot of wisdom, right? Of course, right? I'm older. I must have wisdom. And of course, I think I'm, entertaining and funny, and I think I'm clever, and I think I got all these answers. I believe all these things are true. However, for decades of my life when I was younger, I looked at people who were older and a lot of times thought, whether or not they were nice or I liked them or not, didn't change the fact that a lot of them I felt were out of touch. And I felt that they weren't as wise as they thought because the world's changing, and they weren't as clever as they thought because they thought they were funny and I didn't. So it's funny. I have all these opinions about myself, but I can't escape the fact that for my entire life when I was younger, I saw older people that thought the same thing about themselves that I think about me. So I'm always questioning whether or not anything I say is actually true. I believe it is, but I'm a scientist at heart, so I have no choice but to be objective and question my own everything. Did Fieldworth day bag of 50 discs halfway through made a breakthrough on accuracy and spin of the new grip, the pinch grip. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's the thing about grip. If you saw my grip video, I didn't contradict any of the videos. I just said the truth. Basically my opinions come from far more feedback than anybody else. It's not that I'm smarter. It's not that I've got something figured out. I just have data. I have far more data than anybody else when it comes to teaching. Please, this is not intended to sound arrogant or putting myself on a pedestal or something like that. But if someone wants to talk to me about teaching disc golf, I don't even want to talk to you about how to teach disc golf until you've done between 500 and 1,000 private lessons. All of the theories in the world that a person has, I don't care how much you've studied the game, broken down game film, done slow motions, you've studied physics and biomechanics and physiology, and I don't care how much of that you've studied, until you've applied that knowledge to actual humans and gotten the feedback of whether or not your knowledge, the way you teach it, because you could be right and then still not teach it well, until you get the feedback from that person, you don't know. You don't know anything. And this sounds so arrogant, but I know that I used to think that I was such a good teacher because I was doing clinics and videos and writing books. And then when I started doing lessons, 3-4 lessons a day, every single day, I started to realize I didn't know as much as I thought. I was so sure of my opinions. And then my knowledge now comes from getting the feedback of all these people that if I try to explain something to them and they can't do it, that's not their fault, that's mine. So yeah. So all my takes are not, none of it's like, they're not based on like opinions really. They're based on like, yeah, I tried that with 500 people. It doesn't work. I tried this other way with 900 people and it does. So yeah. So I'm glad that you're finding what stuff I'm teaching when it works for you. It's great. You're not alone. You ever crop dust your opponents during a tournament? Okay, so funny story about that. No, but I'm
At your age?
at my age, it's risky. But here's what I will show you, and I'm going to stand up to do it. So this is a trick I learned, and actually I learned it in Michigan, and I learned it from Jeff Malton and Greg Pinniger. All right. So there's these flies up in Michigan, and once they get you, they just start circling you, buzz, buzz, and they circle you, and you step up to putt, and you can't even putt because these flies are circling you, right? So this is what Jeff Malton showed me. This is what he would do. There would be a person standing right here, right? And Jeff would be over here, and there'd be like a fly buzzing around him. The other person's back is to them, so they can't see them, right? So there's a person right there. So Malton, fly going around him, would walk up to the person next to him. And then the fly would be circling them. So you could he would actually transfer the fly to the other person. And I thought that was like, now that's not crop dusting.
It's freaking brilliant.
It's brilliant. Yeah, Jeff Malton. I learned a lot from Jeff Malton and Greg Pinniger, but that was one of the best ones because I was like, God, these flies in Michigan are terrible. They're like, no. They're great. What do you mean they're great? Watch this. Yeah. So it's not crop dusting, but it's kind of reminded me of that because you walk over and, okay. Who did the artwork in the jerseys? His name is Creative Rob. And we ran a contest to design my Tour Series hot stamp. And we took submissions and he sent some designs in for this. These are the shirts that he's referring to, available at scottstokely.net. He sent some designs in, and I'm like me and Adriana were like, oh my God, these are absolutely brilliant, but they're not Tour Series discs. Tour Series discs have to be more mainstream because we're trying to sell to a broad audience. So we didn't use them, but we kept his information for like 6 months until we finally came up with an idea of how to like use him. Yeah, he's insanely. He's just.
Like if we had a house, he would like design our wallpaper.
Yeah, if we actually had a home, which we're never going to do, but if we actually had a house, we'd have his artwork. I mean, I would be the biggest collector of his artwork because, like, he's the best. He's the best I've ever seen. Well, I mean, it's a style thing, right? But I mean, he's the best I've ever seen as far as my taste. It's only that I'm leaving the country because I've been exiled. Don't keep that one in the D-Lo. No, I think would love to have a meal with you. We get there Thursday night. I'm doing a clinic Thursday night. I think that would sound. Yeah, message me direct. I mean, we're gonna be. We should be there. Okay, so you say to try to get So message me direct, Benita. Try to get to the seminar in Iowa if you can. Okay, so the seminar is my full day seminars, and that is the Monday after Iowa. That one is sold out because I capped those at 6 people. But as far as the clinic, which is from 6 to 8 p.m., it'll be 6 to 8 p.m. Thursday at Grandview, and I'll be like plastering every Facebook page within an hour and a half with flyers starting tomorrow. So that'd be great if you could. I will be attending the Des Moines Challenge. I can't wait. The last time I played a tournament in Des Moines was 1998, I think. It was the Des Moines. Was it called the Des Moines Challenge? I haven't called it Des Moines.
In 98?
Yeah, we go look it up. Whatever it was, I won. I remember winning it in the Open Division. And I think that's the last time I played there. And it's actually great because I even wrote about this in my autobiography, available at scottstokely.net. I wrote about this story. I was competing against LaRon Harris. I had to look up the numbers, But he was beating me by 4 strokes after this is when we used to play 2 rounds Saturday, 2 rounds Sunday. He was beating me by 4 strokes after the first round. I made back 2 strokes, and so after Saturday he was ahead of me by 2 strokes. And so the next morning, Sunday, I'm getting ready to, I show up there, I'm warming up, and LeRon shows up, and he's just like, he's basically like, he's slumped over, his head's down. He looks like just like death warmed over. Like he looked like he had the flu or something. He was just like a zombie dragging his back on the ground. And it's like, oh my God, LeRon, are you okay? He's like, yeah, okay. And all of a sudden, this like really cute girl comes running up and throws her arms around him. And he looks at me and goes, Scott, this is Carla. I met her last night. And she's like, hi, Scott. And I'm like, hi, Carla. And anyways, he went on to play terrible on Sunday, thanks to the girl he met the night before. He hadn't slept all night. And what's great was I actually thanked Carla at the awards ceremony because she was the reason I won.
No, you didn't play Des Moines 98.
I played 97, 96. 97, 96, something like that. But yeah, of course I'll be in Des Moines. Des Moines.
Des Moines, yeah, it was Des Moines Challenge.
Oh, it was the Des Moines Challenge.
In 97.
Okay, so Des Moines Challenge in 97, I won. Here's the funny thing about the Pro Tour, by the way. This is what's cracking me up, is that a lot of these tournaments have been going on for a while, and every single tournament on the Pro Tour this year that was around in the 90s, I've won. I've won the Masters Cup. I've won the Waco Charity Open. I've won the Des Moines Challenge. No, I'm sorry. I did not win the Great Lakes Open. No. Or did I? No, I didn't win the Great Lakes Open. I finished second twice, third twice, and fourth or something like that. So I think that's the only one that I'm not a past winner, even though they're all like 25 years ago. But yeah, like the Memorial, right? So yeah. You're getting Magnus. Hello, Magnus. You're getting older. You feel your body. Let's see. What?
Body declining.
Okay, my body's declining each time you play. What has kept my body so durable and ongoing for all this time? Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I know more about any of this stuff than I do. But I think first and foremost, this is okay. Ready for this, everybody? This is all my opinion. So you can, if I'm wrong, I reserve the right to be wrong. I'll tell you my opinion. I think that the basically when it comes to your body, it starts by not having the extra weight on. I mean, it just does. And I know in the modern world, it's not about the number on the scale. It's about feeling healthy and this and that. But it's just what I've observed is the extra weight for me has always slowed me down. It has always caused problems. I have been heavier before. I've never been real big, but I've been heavier. It's always made me fatigued. It's always made me more more lethargic. And so having the weight gone has been everything. Then, obviously don't smoke and don't use drugs. And that includes excessive drinking. Not trying to be a buzzkill, but those things will kill you. Like when you get older, there's so many things you can do in your 20s that as you get older, it's like you just can't get away with them anymore. And I think that a lot of times that's the hard thing to do is to realize that when you're older, you got to work really hard. You didn't have to work hard when you were 25. Now, having said that, I'm just going to tease y'all with this. But I'm about to announce that I have partnered with someone who I'm not saying yet, but we're about to announce an online disc golf fitness / lifestyle change class where it's going to be, I'm not going to go into details, but basically it's going to be a 3-month, really inexpensive because we're more concerned with just getting people in 3 months towards reshaping your life into moving into a healthy lifestyle. None of it's about weighing portions, counting macros, like taking certain supplements. It's not about getting on a treadmill or anything like that. This is all about a in 3 months going from not being a healthy lifestyle to basically the way I live now, which is not a healthy lifestyle. It's only about 80% of the way to healthy, but it's, to me, that 80% is everything. It's because I'm not overweight and I have energy and I feel good. And if it turns out that, that diet soda hurt me, so be it. I'm like, if it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy overdoing it. But anyway, so it's gonna be a 3-month class, and we just want to help people. This is how much we want to help people. The cost of the class is going to be, we have a set inexpensive price for the class, except if you can't afford it, in which case you can just message us and you can pay us whenever you can. Like, we don't really care. We want everybody to participate and feel better. Sorry, that was way long. Will I have an end of the year in the bag and the amazing Piwaka Waka still in yours? 100%, absolutely, unequivocally, for sure. The Piwaka Waka will be a disc that is going to be in my bag. I'm only announcing about one new tour disc a month because I tried to announce them faster and it turned out that people ran out of money. By the way, whoever sent the $10, thank you. That's amazing. I'm like totally blown away that anybody that sends money. So like, I mean, thank you. That's cool. Hopefully I offer information that is worthy of the money. Let's see. Let's see. What was the religious fundamentalism? Okay. When and where will you be in Thailand? Are you going to go to the Simulai Swine Classic 5th and 6th of February? Is that the one we're going to? Yeah, I think that's the one we're going to be at. Yeah, we're actually going to maybe even go earlier and just kind of tour the country for a few weeks. Sorry you're late. How is it playing with Berg and Yuli? Any funny stories around with them? Any special Berg shots? Okay, so Berg and Berg. Okay, you mean like Dave Feldberg? Or you mean the Bergs? Okay, so Ulibarri and Feldberg are so much fun. I like. It was a great card. We had and of course we played with also Jake Wolf. Everybody was light and everybody was fun and nobody got stressed out. Actually, the card shot par. So our card averaged about 1,020 was our card's average, right? But it was just everybody was complimentary. Like there's nothing weird happened. It was all just fun. Feldberg, God, that guy's so good. He took a triple bogey on a hole. Basically, he clipped a tree and on the par 5, it turned into an 8. If he had missed the tree by a couple inches and took a 5, he would have shot in 500. Hey, what's up, Paul? Hey, speaking of Paul Ulibarri, my God, I'm so glad I didn't say horrible things about you. Like, that'd be so funny. If someone asked what it was like. And by the way, Adrienne is laughing. She didn't tell me you were in here specifically because she was hoping I would say something.
For it.
Yeah, but you were waiting for me to say something and you were going to catch me.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's what are you going to say? Everybody was like nice and encouraging and complimentary, and everybody was fun, and it was and we're going to shoot together tomorrow. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Paul and Feldberg, and I'm also a huge fan of Jake now. He's such a nice guy. And I got no gossip from the tour, y'all. Maybe I'm just not included in all the insider gossip of the kids because like I'm the old guy who wants the old guy around. I don't know. But I haven't seen anything like that's even worthy of gossiping about. I mean, it's like everybody's just kind of nice and everybody kind of likes each other. And, even the people that maybe aren't like the best buddies, like when they play around, there's no animosity there. Everybody, I mean, it's a real positive atmosphere. Everybody's just kind of like nice to each other. There's not a whole lot of drama. Thanks for showing the 3-finger grip. I saw an old video of yours recently and tried that grip. Gained 25 to 30 feet. It's got accuracy. Thanks. True inspiration. You are very welcome. Absolutely. I'm 53. Is the system going to work for you? Yes. So here's the thing. The physical laws of the universe do not care if you're old or young or amateur or pro or male or female, like big or small. Like there's certain things that are just how you throw. And as long as you do those things, it will work. I mean, I jokingly would tell people, like in my seminars, like I do these all day seminars, and I tell people at almost every one, I say, hey, at the end of the seminar, if you your conclusion is, wow, that was awesome, I learned a couple things, and I had a lot of fun. If that's what you got from the day, I will just send you your money back. Like I charge good money. Like you didn't pay good money to learn a couple things. You paid good money to actually get this game and go, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what snap feels like. Oh my God, I'm hitting my lines every time. Oh, the nose is no longer going up. Wow, my sidearm actually comes out of my hand without wobble. So I actually, what I tell everybody is I charge more money than anybody. And because of that, you should set higher expectations than with anyone. By the way, if Yuli's in here, he's probably the other, and actually Felberg's great too, but Yuli's is probably as high level of disc golf teacher as there is. I got mad respect for Paul Ulibarri, and he also charges top dollar, but he also gets those results. Like you get to set high expectations when you go out and pay a pro, $50 for an hour. Like if you learn something and get a couple tips, that's great. Like it's money well spent. You pay $50 to get a little better. It's awesome. But with like Yuli and myself, like it's different game. We're going to take it to a different level. I'm learning the background in the online class. Mentioning the importance of distance related to speed. I'm overweight and working to lose weight. How much will being overweight affect your distance with drives? So, I mean, I can't quantify it with a number, but it'll hurt. There's no question that being in better shape, just having less weight on your body, excess weight, will make you slower, right? If you have to carry more weight, you're going to do things slower than if you're leaner. So what you could do, I mean, first off, I would encourage you to sign up for this class we're about to do because it's going to be really, really cool. And it's super inexpensive. We're really trying to help people. But one of the things that I've observed for people who are trying to lose weight is it's hard when you don't have a goal. Like the goal of I'm going to get in shape. Doesn't seem like that's a really effective goal. However, if you tie it to something you love, like disc golf, and you tie it to this thing you want to get better at, it's going to be a lot easier to be committed because there's something tangible that you're reaching for. I've one of the hardest things I've ever done is I've given up ice cream. Basically, I've eaten ice cream, I would say 10 times in the last year. It's about a monthly thing. I'm not militant, but I basically have given it up at the moment because I have this tangible goal of competing on the Disc Golf Pro Tour that if I was just trying to get in shape, it's easy to be lazy. So my advice to you, well, take our class for one, but also let disc golf be a life's motivator. By the way, it's also, please, I'm not trying to preach at anybody here or anything like that, but hey, guess what, y'all? If you smoke cigarettes, you're gonna play better when you breathe better. If quitting smoking is something you want to do and it's hard to do, use disc golf to motivate you. I'm tired of getting tired by hole 16 or walking up the hill on hole 3. You can use disc golf to make changes to the more important parts of your life. Sorry if that came across preachy, but I love everyone that plays this game and I want everybody to be better. So the short answer is, yeah, you're going to be better, but then that's not a bad thing. Use that to make your life better. How's the sauce going? Will we be seeing the other 4 flavors? Plug the sauce. Well, I like the way you think, sir. 4 flavors. It's almost like you were a plant, but you weren't. 4 flavors of Scott Stokely barbecue sauce. Texas Smoky. There's a letter D on the bottle. Carolina vinegar with the letter I. By the way, these are very worn out labels. Kansas City sweet with the letter S. And California spicy with the letter C. So that's what he's referring to. Now, as far as the next 4 bottles, I don't know what they're going to spell. I don't even know. Look, I don't even know what the DISC spells because I dropped out of high school to play, frisbee golf all day. So you can't expect me to spell, but I heard they spell something cool. The next 4 letters are going to be I have no idea what they're going to be. But first, these have to do well, or else I'm not going to buy another $20,000 worth of barbecue sauce. And they're selling, but they need to sell faster before I dive in and make this investment again. Congrats on winning the Eagles Crossing. You live an hour away from there. Regret not going. The spectator pass is $200. Is that the going price elsewhere? No, I think that's the most expensive because it was set up to be a very special event.
That's about on par for what the VIP passes are going at.
Oh, are the VIP passes that? Okay.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, Philip Samuels has this vision, and the vision is to make this our. Oh, good night. I won't forget to take a bath. Philip Samuels has this vision. I don't want to say to make Eagles Crossing our Augusta because I'm not sure if he's comparing us to another sport. So I don't want to put words in his mouth. But as an outside observer, that's kind of what it has the potential of being, where Eagles Crossing could be a place where the World Championships is held 100 years from now, or certainly an annual Eagles Crossing Championship or something. It's such a special place, and he's charging a lot of money, but he also limited the amount of people. So it was when you got to do the meet and greets and the signings and the hanging out with at lunch, it's like it was a small enough group where he actually got time with the players. So he's charging more, but he also, I think he's also trying to offer. It's just a different thing. He's trying to offer this high level thing. 200 is expensive. I couldn't agree more. I think everybody would agree that it's expensive, but I also think that had you been there, there's something, one of the most special shots in the history of our game took place there that you got to be there for too. So that, that you get something out of it. Thank you, Matt, very much. Appreciate you. Deb Renner, never tried the Marvel and might have missed it. What's it like? I love the Wizard and love AVR old school. So here's the difference. This one has a bead on the bottom, which is this little piece right there that gives a little more depth. The Marvel has no bead. It's also a little bit sharper, so I think it's a little bit faster. I think they probably have the same numbers. 2, 3, 0, 1. I mean, these are so subjective anyways, but it's just a lower profile. So I've heard it described as an even flatter P2, and the P2 is, obviously like a hugely popular disc. If you like beadless putters, you'll love it. If you don't like beadless putters, if you like putters with beads, the Marvel's probably not for you. I'm not discouraging you from trying it, but it's just most beadless. Here, let me back up. Here's the way I think of putters. Every putter's good, but there's basically a couple categories of putters. There's the beaded putter. There's a non-beaded putter, right? And then there's in between, like a half bead. There's also a stiff putter. There's a more flexible putter, and then there's soft putters. And I think the vast majority of putters fall into one of those 9 categories. The 3 levels of beads on one side, the 3 flexibilities on the other. Anything that falls into the same box is going to be similar. So, an EMAC judge and a Wizard can be very similar. So I think if you like a category, you'll like probably most of the discs in that category. Probably a longer answer. What's the shirt made of? Love.
And polyester.
Oh, I meant polyester. Well, no, there's two. There's the polyester. This one's polyester, and then what's the other one made of? There's three of them.
There's recycled polyester.
There's polyester. There's recycled polyester.
And then polyester lycra blend.
And there's a polyester lycra blend, which is a little bit flexible. Is the polyester recycled just for the hippies?
Yes.
Okay, so for the hippies, by the way, I love the sport was invented by hippies. This is not an attack on the hippies, y'all. But the recycled is, I don't know if it's any different. It's more just of if you want to support that.
There's so many.
Process.
They're like plastic bottles that they make into the.
They're making them out of plastic bottles.
Yeah, like
from the oceans.
Then the milk jugs and.
Okay, so basically, if you buy the recycled versions, you're saving dolphins' lives. Oh, hey, real quick, I was talking about the putters a second ago. The Marvel and the Wizard are now available.
Oh, that's an Australian
one. Oh yeah, this is the Australian Wizard. Oh, and the New Zealand Wizard. This is the Marvel and the Wizard. I have up at ScottStokely.net in 6-packs and 12-packs. If you like these as putters, you can buy 6 and 12 packs, and then you can. It's way better to practice with a stack of the same discs. I mean, there's no question that having a stack of identical discs allows you to practice more putts in a shorter period of time because there's less going back and forth to get the disc. So in that 30 minutes of practice, instead of getting 80 putts in, you get 110 putts or whatever. I'm making up the number, but you get a measurable amount more in the same amount of practice time. And having identical discs allows you to not worry about the disc leaving your hand differently. That part's consistent. You can focus on mechanics. Just for reference, what size am I wearing? Okay, so.
You're a bad reference point.
I'm a bad reference point because, so check this out. This is going to sound wild because this is, by the way, mind blown for me too when I tell you this. So I've never, before this year, ever worn a shirt that fit me. Because I'm so tall, I've always worn just like 3X, so it was long enough, which is basically like it's like a muumuu. It's a gigantic sheet hanging down on me. I've never ironed clothing. I've never folded clothing my entire life. I've just grabbed, like basically, I open up the dryer, pull a shirt out, close the dryer, leave my clothing in the dryer, put the wrinkled shirt on, and go play. Like I've done that for 51 years. It served me well. This year, because of the Pro Tour, I really wanted to pay show my respect to the tour by just being as sharp and professional as possible. I felt I owed it to the kids and the tour and everyone that's put so much into this. So I got a whole lineup of that custom clothing you see me wearing. It's all custom fitted, which I never in my entire life thought I would wear custom fitted clothing. That just seems crazy to me. Because since, I hate to say this is going to sound crazy, but I've never done this in my life, but since I worked out so hard for a year and diet and exercise, I'm like, I actually want something form-fitting because I'm actually proud of how I look. Like I've always thought I look okay, I look fine. A few extra pounds here, maybe I'm a little skinny there. This is the first time in my entire life, ever, my entire life, that I've walked in front of a mirror and gone, holy cow, dude, you look really good. Because I worked so hard. So it turns out that my size was a medium, but 3X on the length. So that's way more information you probably needed to know. But I'm actually wearing a medium shirt that's like form-fitting, but 3X on the length. So, yeah, it's bizarre. I find it so odd that I've never cared about clothing before until this year. And even my pants they're custom ordered. The Aussie Wizard spins forehand when you flush it. Yes, it does. And don't be flushing wizards. I think that's like burning money. It's federal offense.
Is that what you call it when it spins around the basket like that?
When it spins around the basket, is that like flushing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes backwards. Yep. As a 50-year-old man, what is The best advice you can give to a 50-year-old man, essentially starting out in disc golf. Played Ultimate until a few years ago. So that's a two-part question. The first question is, what best advice I can give you if you had played Ultimate before? And the best advice I can give you is forget you ever played Ultimate before as far as disc golf. Do not view it as a similar sport. View it as a completely independent sport. There are certain skills that will carry over that you can keep, but you don't throw a golf disc like an Ultimate disc. The only old Ultimate players who ever get good at disc golf are those who are willing to completely play the game differently. It's almost like, people say, oh, I played Ultimate, so I should be good at disc golf. It's like, that's like saying I played basketball, so I should be good at bowling. I mean, they're both balls, about similar size, right? It's like, no, different sport. Some overlap, mostly new. So the first thing is start from scratch. The second thing is a 50-year-old man, doesn't matter man or woman, as a 50-year-old playing. And I guess it's the same advice for everybody, but even maybe more when you get older, you got to have proper mechanics. You just have to, especially when you get older, like, injuries and wear and tear on the body. If you want to play the rest of your life, you can't be throwing with bad technique. Bad technique is going to hurt you. And forgive the arrogance for when I say this, but everything I teach is biomechanically correct. There's not one thing I teach in disc golf that is going to ask you to make your body move in a way that is contrary to how your body wants to move. And the best way to avoid injury in any sport or in life, like period, is to do things where your body moves the way it was meant to move. If all of your joints are moving the way they're supposed to, and all the muscles are flexing the way they're supposed to, and you're not, your flexibility, your body's moving to a point of resistance, but not past it, like you're not going to get hurt. I can't promise you, but you're far less likely to get hurt. Proper mechanics will do that. Improper mechanics, all of a sudden your body starts doing things it wasn't meant to do. You could have got away with that when you were 20. Good luck getting away with that when you're 60. When you're 60, the slightest little things, your body's like, so that's the two things. So long answer, I give long answers, but everything I do is the way your body's supposed to move. Hey, I want to add to this though. One thing I want to be super clear about. If the key to throwing farther or throwing better was to make your body move in a way it's not supposed to move, and you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to have experience wear and tear, but you throw farther, I would have zero problem teaching that. None. I would have no problem whatsoever saying to everybody, look, there's two ways to play disc golf. You can do it this way to protect your body, but hey, if you want to get good, you got to do it this way. Guess what? It's going to hurt. Guess what? You're risking injury. Guess what? You're shortening your career if you do it this way. And I would follow it up by saying, but if you want to get good, suck it up. This is sports. There's lots of sports out there where if you want to get good at the sport, you trade in your body to do it. Right? I mean, it's sports. I mean, to go to the highest level, you have to, in a lot of sports, you have to beat yourself up to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you care about. So I would have no problem telling people the right way to do things to throw farther, even if it was bad for you. So it is a complete coincidence. And I've learned this after 40-something years of playing, 30 years of teaching. It's a coincidence. But the correct way to throw with maximum power, maximum accuracy, and maximum consistency are all exactly the way your body wants to move biomechanically in its most natural way. Like, it's the most beautiful thing about our sport that I don't have any control over. This is just luck. But the right way to throw also happens to be the way you'll perform the best. So the way I teach, there's no conflict. I'm not teaching you the healthiest way to throw. I'm teaching you the best way to score the best and throw the farthest. It just so happens it's also the healthiest, right? Coincidence, but it's the truth. You throw forehand 100% of the time due to back injuries. What can I do to prevent over-rotating your shoulder, which is now injured and preventing me from playing? Okay, so right off the bat, like I said, first off, good mechanics is a good way to protect it. I never address specific injuries because that's me speaking completely out of turn. If I say to you, oh, the key to not injuring your shoulders, to make this change or something, that's irresponsible. So what I can tell you is that observationally is that with correct mechanics, again, the way I teach, it is the lowest impact on your entire body that you can possibly have. Now, I will add to this. So I just talked about how it's the least impact on your body when throwing, the way I teach, which it is. Sorry, there's a commotion outside. So having said that, what I've observed is if you throw a backhand correctly your entire life, it should never hurt you. Can you let them know? Just sorry. Okay. So there are people like yelling in the hallway right outside our door, and I can't focus. That's my ADHD. Correct backhand mechanics, I do not believe should ever hurt you your entire life. Backhand is the most low impact thing in the entire world. Sidearm mechanics, not quite the same. Even with proper mechanics, it can hurt your rotator cuff and it can hurt your elbow, even when thrown correctly. Now, I say the way I teach is the least impact. Well, I think the least impactful sidearm you can possibly do still can hurt a little bit. And I hate to give that answer, but that's what I'd say. Now, now the short term, the short answer is watch my video on the two different backswings on the sidearm. From what you're describing, there's an 80% chance that when you watch that, and I addressed that in that video, that it might be a fix simply by making that change. What do you think of the ladies today? Best round I've ever seen. I didn't hear what happened.
They're on a different course than we are, so like normally we get to interact.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen them because we're playing a different course. The ladies today are better than the ladies yesterday, better than the ladies 10 days before that. This is the best disc golf that this division, I mean, the women's division is by far the best it's ever been. It's like way better than last year, and last year was way better than the year before, and that was way better than the year before, and that's been happening for 40 something years. It's I don't say it's astonishing because that almost sounds condescending, like I'm surprised by it, but the growth in the game and the level of play is, it's unbelievable. You have two distances you struggle with in your personal game: 260 to 300 feet and 12 to 18 feet. Is there a distance that's more difficult for you personally? No. I mean, shorter is always easier, but I would say that for me, the weakest part of my game, by far, the weakest part of my game is the backhand finesse shot. Like, I'm pretty good at it, but relative to the field, it's the weakest part of my game. Like if I'm in 33rd place right now at the Ledgestone. If we were playing courses that had 18 backhand finesse holes, I would be near the bottom. And that doesn't mean I'm not among the 400 best backhand finesse players in the world, which is really good when there's 15 million people out there. But compared to the kids out there today, that's relative to them, it's the weakest part of my game. So anything backhand short's tough. I feel like a pretty straight-laced guy these days. Do I partake in anything recreationally? I don't. But I'm not, like, I am an absolute card-carrying member of you have the right to live your life and pursue liberty, which is finding your own joy in the world, as long as you're not harming anybody else. I vehemently defend everyone's right to do so. It's just not really my thing right now, and hasn't been for quite a while. You had lateral surgery several years ago. You tweaked your shoulder backhand since, but not forehand. Thought it would be the opposite, but I always excelled forehand since I played baseball for years. Yeah, it's so. I mean, injuries are going to be individual, especially if you're coming off another injury. You know, I say backhand shouldn't hurt you if thrown correctly. Well, I mean, if you have injury, if you have scar tissue, if you have a previous injury, if you have screws in your shoulder, you know what I mean? Like, you can't say that nothing's going to hurt you. I mean, we're doing something violent. Throwing a disc is violent. I mean, the amount of acceleration that you're putting on a disc and the timing it's very much hard on the body. It's the lowest impact sport I can think of. I truly do. I mean, maybe like billiards or something like that. But as far as outdoor doing something hard and, I think it's the lowest impact sport in the world. That doesn't mean that it isn't higher impact than sitting in a chair. Like, it's still there. Is my C1X putting better now than in your early career? I would have to think so, because like, I've only missed one. Like, in my first 2 rounds today, I missed one circle one putt. I think, is that right? I think I've missed one circle one putt in my first 2 rounds today. After I made the change to my putting, I was 10th in circle 1X, and I was at the Dynamic Discs Open, and then I went out to Masters Cup and was 16th in circle 1X, and I'm in the top 30, I think, this time in circle 1X, and well, whatever it is, I've only missed one in 2 rounds. So I would say being 10th against these players, even for a weekend, is something that wouldn't have been the case before. So maybe it is. Who is my secret sponsor? The Illuminati. Oh, and the Federal Reserve.
Stokely sauce.
But they're the same thing. No, I am my own sponsor. No, Birdie Disc Golf Supply and Dynamic Discs and Castoplast and Gateway and AGL are all on board with me, and RPM is as well. And more big things are happening. I got so many, my hands in so many projects. I could list them all, but boy, there's a lot. But I'm also sponsoring myself because I'm building my own brand. You broke your right ankle a few years ago. You can't do a follow through. Tips for follow through. God, yeah. So again, I'm treading lightly when it comes to injuries, but the exact opposite should be the truth. You should be able to follow through better to protect your ankle, because if your foot plants and you rotate around that foot and that foot doesn't move and you don't follow through, you're putting more of a strain on it. Like, you should be able to follow through, rotate on your plant foot, and you should be able to do it fairly light on your ankle. I mean, maybe practice it without the disc. Just practice that pirouette on your plant foot. But yeah, you should be able to. Not following through is way harder on your body than following through, because you have all this momentum and rotation that, if you don't follow through, has to be absorbed somewhere in the stopping of the follow through. What's my perspective on a turbo putt? Yeah, you use it 3 times a year when the situation dictates, and no more. It's not a good putt. It's not a trick shot, because there's times where you're going to use it, but it's not a good putt. It's situational. And I know it's like, oh, well, there's highlight reels of people making turbo putts on the internet, right? Well, you got to remember, they don't show the misses, right? Like, so you only see the makes. Of course, it looks like turbo putts are great. If I don't win Worlds, who will win? I'm going to win. No, I'll tell you what. Whew, Worlds is wide open. The people that are, oh my goodness, my Lord, it's so ridiculous. There's so many people that could win Worlds I mean, Simon is obviously playing stupidly hot. These courses, they definitely favor him. Um, I think. Oh, by the way, Eagle. Like Eagle's the top-rated player in the world right now. How do you bet against Eagle? I still think there's something with Paul and Ricky that are just like these guys still step up at the biggest tournaments, and they're becoming the elder statesmen. They're the next generation's coming up, but I think Paul and Ricky are still kind of keeping them at bay a little bit. I put Eagle in that group too. Paul and Eagle and Ricky. I think Calvin's on the fringe. I think Calvin and Simon have a damn good shot at winning. But I'll tell you what, like I don't know, like if you gave me Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Calvin, and Simon versus the field, versus somebody else, I probably would honestly take the field because even though those are the five favorites, there's 50 people that can win. And so out of 50 people compared to five, how about that for just dodging the question? Let's just say I'll win. Make it easy. I'm 55. Do you think my class can help you throw farther? My distance is around 350. I for sure can help you throw farther. I mean, I haven't seen you throw. So if you have perfect mechanics, then I'm not going to improve upon them. But the vast majority of people don't. And there's many parts of the game as well with the class. I mean, my online class is backhand, sidearm putting, utility shot strategy, mental game, disc selection, wind play, tournament strategy, tournament preparation. So without watching you throw, here's what I will tell you. If you signed up for my class and like after like a month or two, you're like, yeah, I'm already doing all that stuff perfectly. Like I'll refund you if you don't think you're learning anything new in the class. Like
the putter packs and
you
got some Bergs left.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's Bergs. Holy cow, I should have been mentioning this. I got Bergs at scottstokely.net. They're so hard to find Bergs. You can still find Bergs at scottstokely.net.
They're white dyeable.
They're white and dyeable too. We got the Wizards and the Marvels at scottstokely.net in 6-packs and 12-packs, which means you can buy 6 or 12. So when you practice your putting, you can then throw the same disc, have the identical disc, which is far better for practicing putting. 2 discs is better than 1, 4 is better than 2, 6 is better than 4. You absolutely you need. I will not tell you that the Wizard and the Marvel are the best putter for you. Like putter is very individual. So I can't tell you that the Marvel's a better putter than the Luna. What I can tell you is whether you putt the Marvel or the Luna, you need to have a stack of whatever one you have. So if you do like the Marvel and the Wizard, you got to buy a stack and putt them. So whatever disc you have, even if they're not mine, you got to buy a bunch. Who is the most unique disc golfer in terms of using both hands and throws that you've ever played with? Phil Arthur. Phil's up there. I mean, obviously Eagle's throwing with the opposite hand. I still, for the 99% of players, throwing a sidearm with your dominant hand is going to be better than throwing your backhand with your non-dominant hand. I can't speak for any individual that's not the case with everybody, but that's generally the general rule. I'm right-handed and I can't imagine ever getting my left-handed backhand. If I had done it my whole life, why would I think that my left-handed backhand after my whole life would be better than my dominant hand sidearm my whole life? Like, it's not going to be. Like, so I think it's, I still think that the backhand sidearm with dominant hand for 99% of players is the way to go. What's up, Dallas? Hey, I'm going to tell a cool story about Dallas. So there's these little moments in my career where I've actually said, by the way, Dallas is a junior player, a high level up and coming, going to be, on tour in a couple of years player in the Pacific Northwest, in the Portland area, and uh, all right. Are there still people in here? Oh my God, there's still 70 people in here. Holy cow. All right. Is everybody still here? Okay. So I was saying, I have no idea where I left off, but well, no. I mean, as far as where they heard. So basically, I've had these moments in my career where I felt like I've made it. And because after all these years of playing in obscurity where no one knew what we were doing but us, and there was never any media or, like it, it was just this thing that we did amongst ourselves. About 4 or 5 years ago, Dallas sends me a picture and he says, "Hey, just want to let you know I'm dressing as you for Halloween."
4 or 5 years.
Was just a couple years ago. He goes, "I'm going to Scott Stokely for Halloween," and he put on a blue wig because I used to have blue hair, and he put disc golf on his knuckles, and I was a Halloween costume, y'all. What? Like that's one of those moments. I'll tell you another moment where like these are like these little things. The first time this happened was crazy. It happened like just this year. And so a lot of things happen at disc golf tournaments where there's disc golfers and stuff like that. And so I expect people to be like, they're nice to me, and they, sign autographs or take pictures or do things. It's like, it's awesome, but it's at the disc golf event. But a lot of this stuff hasn't gone over to the mainstream world yet. And that was just last year, Dallas. Gotcha. So when things happen in the mainstream world, it's weird, but cool. So we were driving through, and there was this. We went to this steak restaurant, and we both ordered like the cheaper sirloin steak, whatever it was. And they bring Adriana her plate, and then they bring my plate, and it's like this huge piece of beautiful
I think it was a ribeye.
Like a ribeye, whatever it was, but it wasn't the little small sirloin steak. And the waiter sets it down and says, "Oh, by the way, we've upgraded you to the 20-ounce ribeye, Mr. Stokely. It's on the house, of course." It's completely random. And it was great because I was like, holy cow, I'm famous. I mean, not famous enough, for you to get a ribeye, but I'm famous enough for like one of us to get one. Like stuff like that, weird stuff like that. Or when I was in Eugene, Oregon with Bruce Sisson having dinner, we're out at the patio. This is the president of the Oak Grove Gophers Disc Golf Club as a kid. And we're there, and the waiter comes over and he goes, "Hey, you're Scott Stokely. Hey, everybody, we got a celebrity here. Scott Stokely's here." Now, that's not that unusual. That nowadays that happens. That's not uncommon for that to happen. Here's the part that was weird. I said to him, "Oh, cool. I appreciate that, man. How long have you been playing disc golf?" And he says, "Oh, I've never actually tried it. It looks like fun, though." What? A non-disc golfer recognized me. He's just a fan of disc golf. And that at some point is going to seem normal, because if you're in the NFL, you don't assume that every single person in the stands played football. Of course, there's some people that are just fans of the sport, but that never happened to us before. Right? So for that to start, things like that to happen are just so bizarre and so cool. But, I don't know if anything will ever top, me being a Halloween costume. If you shot even par on every course in the world, what would your rating be? God, that's really hard to say. Every course is so different. There's courses where a par is like 900 rated or 870 rated, 860. I mean, they're so easy. And then out here, a par is 1,020. Because it's a whole different thing. So, if I could replay any hole of your career, what would it be? Like if I had a do-over? Oh my God, that's such a good question. Oh my God. Did I ever lose? I don't know. I mean, I lost I lost a Climo a few times in sudden death. And okay, I got one for you. Final 9 of the Kansas City Wide Open. In the final 9, I got a hole in one on hole 2. It's like this 360-foot, but pretty wide open uphill shot. Easy shot for me. I got a hole in one in the final 9. And then we went to sudden death. We tied on hole 1, and on hole 2, he threw a bad shot. And all I had to do was birdie the hole that I had aced an hour before, and I couldn't get the birdie. Would love to have that one back. That's a great question, though. Is it worth to have 2 baskets in the backyard? Yes, of course. I mean, you can putt back and forth to each basket, but you can also have 1 basket around obstacles and 1 basket in the open. Yeah, I mean, 2 baskets are better than 1.
Put a whole course in your backyard.
Put a whole course in. How much does mobility and flexibility play in a good tee shot for control of distance? So you want to be mobile. You want to be somewhat mobile and somewhat flexible. Being too flexible might actually harm you at one point, because you need resistance in some parts of your body. Like when the lower half of your body, like your hips are facing forward and the upper half of your body rotates to be in position for the sidearm, there's tension because the lower half is resisting the upper half. And if you are super flexible and you can go all the way back and there's no tension there, you actually will lose power by not having tension. So overly flexible, I'm not saying it would harm you, but there's a point of, I think, diminishing return. But mobility and flexibility, it helps. It's the same thing as strength. Like all these things help a little bit. Technique trumps everything, for sure, but every little bit helps. The thing about disc golf is it's a game of like a couple degrees. If every one of your drives is off by just 2 degrees of angle and then 1 degree on its line, that, it's like vector geometry. It's like that little bit 350 feet away becomes a lot. And that 18-foot putt becomes a 33-foot putt. And that putt that you make 100% of the time, you're now making 70% of the time. Maybe. Well, guess what? Then like That's a massive difference because you were only off by this much on your throw. So those little details over the course of like a 72 hole tournament add up. So every little bit certainly helps. Do shoe companies sponsor pro players? They have. Keen, I believe was the first one. They sponsored Ken Climo. I know Adidas sponsored Paul Macbeth, and I think there's going to be more of that in the future. If you know any shoe companies, tell them to contact me. I'm interested. I'm looking for a Holiday Inn, Marriott, or Hilton sponsorship because we stay in hotels every night. We're in a Marriott right now. Those are the three brands we stay at. I want one of them to sponsor me. So if you happen to know anybody at those three hotels or a shoe company, let them know. Or Gatorade. Other than your longevity, which is incredible, and your teaching, which is equally impressive, what are you most proud of in your career? I love the Blue Power stuff I've done. Well, it's a combination. I love being in the conversation for best sidearm ever, best distance thrower ever. Like I love my performance on the field. I want to be remembered for being good at the sport that I dedicated my entire life to. I've made probably the most positive impact on the special needs work I've done. I did my 284th special needs class up in New York, in 284 different cities where I worked with kids and adults with special needs. And so that has been it's been a massive impact, but for a smaller group of people. So I think those two things. I also look. I'm super proud of anything that I've done that I think I can teach younger players, whether it's behavior on the course, which I try my best to be as flawless as possible as far as my etiquette, my behavior, my attitude. I'm also trying very hard to teach younger players now about branding and about the business of disc golf. Like probably every week, would you say like every week or two, or every week I take someone out to dinner?
Yeah.
Probably like every week or two, I'll take another touring player out to dinner that I think I can help, and I basically lecture them on how to build their brand and the things they can do that are going to make them more money, because I want as many people as possible to succeed. There's only a few players signing $1 million contracts, but there's every single player on tour right now, without exception, every single one of them. Our sport is big enough that whether or not they wind up winning pro tour events that are 1040 someday, if you're out on the tour for a couple of years and you're just competing on the disc golf pro tour, you are good enough to be teaching classes, teaching clinics, running the pro shop, building courses, designing discs, creating social media content, and making a living in disc golf. And by living, I don't mean you're 44 years old and you have 3 roommates in a 4-bedroom house. I'm saying you're good enough to make a living at this sport and have a life. You might, not everybody is going to make millions of dollars, but everybody could be living a middle-class life doing disc golf stuff. And so I'm trying my best to help all these kids get to that point, because I like them all, and I want them all to have a successful life outside of after the pro tour that is doing what they love. I mean, I hate the thought that it's like they're 60 years old and they've been hanging drywall for the past 30 years, thinking the whole time, boy, those 4 years on tour were great. I wish I could have kept doing disc golf. Nothing against working hard and you can make a great living hanging drywall and building a company and taking care of your kids. I'm not knocking that at all, but they're in a position where they don't have to do that if disc golf is what they love. And so I think probably the most impact I'm going to have, is probably going to be on hopefully helping the younger players do that. It's really important to me that they do that. Have I played a course in Canada? I'd love to have a DGPT event to be a event here one day, though I'm pretty lucky living within 3 hours of Maple Hill. Yeah, I've played multiple courses in Canada. But St. Thomas, I've won that tournament. I went to the World Championships in Toronto, and I know there's a spectacular complex. It's in Nova Scotia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're talking about Nova Scotia, if that's where you are, that's supposedly really special.
Oh, Prince Edward.
Prince Edward Island, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. What's the best course you've played that is less than? What's the best course I've played that's less than 18 holes? Ooh, like a really good 9-hole? Oh God.
No. I don't
Um,
have for any of those, so I can't help you.
Yeah. I can't. I don't think I've ever played a good 9-hole course. Usually, like if there's a good piece of land, they get 18 holes in there. I can't. I can't think of a single non-18 hole course or a course less than 18 holes that I would consider good. Doesn't mean they don't exist. I just don't know if I've played one that I can remember. Your Circle 1X has improved a lot, but would love to improve it around 50, 60 feet out. Any suggestions other than just more practice? No. I will tell you this. There are no players in the world that are good from 50 to 60 feet. I mean, the best players in the world aren't good from that distance. That's not where the game takes place. Like, yes, you can do a lot more practice at 50 to 60 feet. I would almost guarantee you that if you took 90% of the practice you were thinking of doing from 50 to 60 feet and put that into circle one putting and got those numbers up even just a little bit more, that trumps any amount of gains you were going to get at 50 to 60 feet. No one's good from that distance. Here's the thing about circle one. All of your good drives are in there, or if it's a par four, all of your good second shots are circle one. All of your approaches are usually going to be circle one. All of your missed putts and comeback putts are circle one. Like, that's where all the shots take place. And that's where the difference between being 70% and 90% are, it's night and day. You have so many putts in there, making that, another 20 or 30% more putts. When you have so many putts equals a ton of strokes. Very few putts are 50 to 60 feet. Because of those putts that don't get inside 40 or 50 feet, or those shots, a lot of them are outside of 60 feet. You hit trees, you miss the gap, and so you're rarely between 50 and 60 feet. And if you're 10% there, and you practice really hard, and you get up to like 15%, you have so few putts there. All of that practice only gains you a stroke every 3 or 4 rounds. But that amount of practice getting you from 70 to 80% circle one equals far more strokes. So that's where you should be spending your time. Not trying to be discouraging because like everyone likes to make long putts, but there's no one good at it. You seem like an incredibly positive mindset all the time these days. How do you maintain your positive attitude? How much has Adrienne helped? A good woman's hard to find. Yeah. So so here's the best thing about her. Like yesterday, I had a really great round, right? I played 17 amazing holes and at Eureka. And then on the 18th hole, I double bogeyed. Well, I bottled it up. And then later that night, we were out at dinner and she says, "Can you please pass the salt?" And I yelled at her. I'm like, "Get off my back. What are you doing? Why are you attacking me?" And I just took it all out on her. And she takes it. She just like, no.
People are gonna believe that and clip it, don't you?
No, yeah. I know. Okay, so please don't clip that and put that on the internet. No, you know why I'm happy? It's because I've had problems in my life. I mean, I have the perspective of someone who's been through a bad divorce, has had issues with substance abuse. These are a long time in the past, but I will not forget the bad places in my life. And there's nothing like what can happen today that's bad? Like what? Someone's gonna steal my car? Yeah, that's not as bad as a divorce, going through a divorce, right? I mean, I'm gonna have a bad round of frisbee golf. That's nothing compared to like, you know, having a problem with drugs, you know. So I think that I think one of the great things, um, I think there's a huge benefit to having like some real bad lows in your life, because then everything is better than that. You know, I mean, I went through a bad breakup. We weren't married, but we were together for 13 years, and that breakup was the lowest point of my entire life, and it led to substance abuse. And like that period of my life was so dark. By the way, it'll be in my next book. I'm writing all about that very openly and honestly. But like after that, like how could anything get me down? You know, other than like maybe if one of us or someone I cared about got sick, obviously that's going to affect me. But regular life stuff, no way. Would it be too much to expect something of a documentary regarding your disc golf career in the future? What if I told you the documentary is already done being filmed and is in post-production right now? I mean, hypothetically. I'm saying hypothetically, if there was going to be a documentary, hypothetically, we finished filming about 2 weeks ago, and hypothetically, it's in post-production. Hypothetically. I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm not saying we shot actually at Kensington Metro Park the day before round one of the Great Lakes Open. I'm not saying that was the last day of filming. You know, I'm just saying hypothetically, if it was, then the documentary's been shot.
And however, we do have the goal of feature films.
What?
You do have the goal.
Oh yeah, and my end goal. Well, no, that's not my end goal. I have two major goals. I am trying desperately. I want a feature film made about my life. I think, knock on wood, I think I have the initial investor. It's a handshake, so no checks have been signed. But the initial, I think I have the initial investor of the seed money to make a feature film based on my life. That's my secondary goal, my end goal. And like this is going to happen. There's going to be a Broadway musical called Stokely the Musical. It's going to be like Hamilton, but it's about disc golf. And I want a Broadway musical about my life. And you think I'm joking? I'm not. That is my absolute end goal. I want a Broadway musical about my life. Well, what's the best way to get a Broadway musical made? Well, what about a feature film first? That sounds awesome. Well, then I need to do a feature film. Well, how do I get a feature film made? Well, you know where it starts? Write a successful book. So I wrote this book with a Broadway musical in mind. That's a true story because I love Broadway musicals. What would my dream card for a tournament? Picking 3 players to play with, present or past. I love that question, but it's such a hard question and the answer changes all the time. So I always give different answers on purpose. So I'm going to go with Bradley Williams because I've had so much fun playing with Bradley Williams. I'm going to pick three people on the tour this year. I'm going to go Bradley Williams. I'm going to go Albert Tam. And how about Alden Harris? That kid's so cool. And if you ask me tomorrow, you'll get a different answer, though. I don't have a perfect dream foursome where, like, that's my go-to. It changes. I noticed at the OTB Open, a lot of fans following my card and waiting for my autograph. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, I will never not be humbled and touched and flattered by the people that come out. And it's like, even calling them fans makes it sound like I'm putting myself up, but I mean, I know that's what it is, right? And my fans, my people are so important to me because I find so much value in my life in trying to improve the world. That's why I always start talking about old man philosophy on life. And that's why I teach disc golf and teach special needs classes. I'm trying to impact the world and make it better and make people around me better. And that's really important to me. And so the people that follow me, what's great is I think that most of them are following me not because I'm a 1050 player, because I'm not, but they've connected to something else. I've helped their game. I've inspired them to stop using drugs, or you know, like anything, or just maybe I've inspired them to, quit their stable job and take a risk with a startup. Um, and they've gotten that from something I said. Things. I mean, I think the people that follow me, or they're older and they're connecting with me because I'm doing something that's in someone who's older, and so everyone means something to me because they're not just rooting for me because they want to be on the winning team. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not like they're rooting for me because they get to go, yeah, we won the Ledgestone. It's like, no, they're following me for other reasons, and it's amazing to me. Amazing. I have not watched Paige's film, but I will. I love Paige. Paige is great. She's like, I mean, she's the best to ever do it. We talk about eras, right? There's always the Elaine and Juliana and Paige and Des Redding and Valerie Dawes. And that's a pretty difficult group to compete with people like Katrina Allen, Sarah Hokum, certainly, in those conversations too. But I think Paige is the best to ever do it, and so I will watch it. And by the way, I'm not watching it because she's the best female disc golfer ever. I watch it because I like her. She's a good person. Am I running any clinics, seminars while in Australia for the Australian? I'm going to be running clinics all over Australia, of course. In fact, we're working on our schedule now, but I think we are going to be doing 6 clinics in Australia. I think it's going to be, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne.
Maybe Mount Gambier.
Maybe Mount Gambier. Maybe, I got a list. So anyways, yes, I'm going to be doing, I think, 6 clinics in Australia, maybe 7 if we make it to Tasmania, which I'm not sure we're going to do. We're trying to decide. When you take your online class, do you critique form? Yes, I critique form, but I also have 5 trainers that are also involved in the critiquing of the form. These are people that have been trained by me. They've all taken the classes, been trained by me. It's a paid position, so I don't have volunteers where it's hit or miss. This is actually like I pay them well. And that's important because it's like, if I said, oh, it's not just me, there's some other people, they have no obligation to be in there at any given day. No, this is a paid position. So these are people that are in the groups multiple times every day, doing form reviews. I oversee everything to make sure that everything that's right, but I don't need to give a form review if a form review's been given that's correct. And by the way, the trainers don't have to give a form review if another student gives a form review and then corrects it correctly. The trainers will sign off on it and go, yeah, that's perfect. So it's a checks and balances system. So yes, ultimately, nothing gets taught in the class that doesn't match the way I teach. Even if it doesn't come from me, I will have seen it and signed off on it. Would I support CrossFit? They contacted me. I would support. Yes, of course. I would be open to any type of mainstream sponsorship. I'm talking to multiple companies right now, which I can't talk about. That I'm, yeah, for sure. I'm open. I'm open to anything. Ron Jones, can you play yourself or Ed? You could almost be Ed. I'm not sure. It's up in the air. I know that I'm going to be Dan Roddick. I'm going to play the part of Dan Roddick for sure. And I think Mason Ford is Sam Farrens. And as of right now, Gannon Burr is Scott Stokely. But if the movie's made in a couple of years, Gannon Burr might be too old. What disc have I lost that I missed the most? So how about this? I had a storage unit with my entire collection, discs, trophies, everything, when I went through that bad divorce and substance abuse problems 10-ish years ago. We, whatever, doesn't matter who did it, let the storage unit payment go. And all of my collection, like my discs, my world record discs, prototypes that have never been actually gone into production. All of those disappeared from my storage unit. So the discs that I lost that I missed the most, well, those are the ones that were certainly the most valuable. But honestly, though, I'm going to add to that answer. Every single thing that we couldn't take with us on this trip, Adrienne and I, we gave away or threw away. We don't have an RV full of stuff. We don't have a trailer anymore. We don't have a storage unit back home. Every single thing we own is in this hotel room right now. I mean, that's a couple boxes of discs in the trunk, but we don't own anything not in the room. So we basically abandoned owning stuff. Everything we own is for practical: discs to sell, discs to throw, computers to work on, clothing to wear. So we've really just abandoned stuff in general. So I really don't, I guess in the bigger picture, I don't really miss anything. But I, to your point, those are the discs that, if I could have any back, it would be those. Can you speak of a time when I had to stop driving with your forehand? Context: I'm forcing myself to throw backhand until an old injury heals again. So I don't have problems with injuries, with one exception. Overhands can hurt your rotator cuff or burst the sac. I'm not a doctor, but right here it can hurt. And when I was at a tournament just outside of Seattle, a tournament ironically that I ran, I hurt my arm throwing a thumber, and then I kept throwing it, and it was sore, and I had to stop throwing sidearm for a little while, at least up here. But other than that, my sidearm doesn't hurt. When I throw, I just threw a 600-foot sidearm at a clinic, flat ground, no wind, measured it, farthest sidearm of my life, because I consistently throw, like, I can throw 500 to 550 sidearm routinely. But this was a 600-foot sidearm, and honestly, the way I throw and the way I teach doesn't hurt. Can I read the book and post it on YouTube? I would, except I read the book and I sell it on Amazon. You can download the book. It's only like, what, $13 for the download? Yeah, it's like the audiobook is $13, and it is read by me. But I will probably release the audio version on YouTube as soon as they stop selling. But they
tell people that they'll stop buying it.
Yeah, that's true. People stop buying it. No, well, the sales haven't slowed down it's been 2 years now, over 2 years, and they haven't slowed down yet. In fact, sales have been increasing over the past 2.5 years, which that doesn't happen with books, right? Books get their initial push and they start declining. Maybe they get one review, or it gets made into a movie. So the books sell more, it spikes, and it goes down again. Books don't start selling and then start increasing for 2 years. But the growth of disc golf, along with the growth of me and my brand and within the sport of disc golf, have been growing so rapidly that my book sales have been increasing in sales over 2.5 years. It's very bizarre. It's incredible. What say you about the Nico thing? So here's the thing about Nico. Nico's a good guy, and he's also my friend. I like Nico. I can't speak on what the penalty for Nico is, because I'm really of the opinion, firmly, that when I go to a tournament or compete in a sport, just me, I'm not telling you that you should be this way or anybody else should, but I don't question the sport that I'm playing in. I just tried my best to play under the rules that are given. So, for instance, I've never contacted a tournament director and said, hey, that OB on this one hole isn't fair, you should change it. Or, oh, I saw the pay structure, you wait, like, I don't like the pay structure, or like, I don't like the rules. I don't do that. I just accept what the governing body of the sport of the tournament does. So I can't speak upon his penalty for it. I can only say that Nico is a good guy who has bad moments. And my biggest hope is that as soon as he's done serving whatever penalty, he may appeal it, it might change, but as soon as he's done and he's paid the price for what he's done, which he's paying a price, he's losing sponsors, he's losing, he's losing tournament revenue. As soon as that's done, he needs to get a clean slate from everybody. I mean, I can't tell you to give him a clean slate, but once the person's done his penalty, he should get a clean slate and an opportunity to, hey, if things don't happen anymore, then you need to let the past go. And I hope that happens. I don't want to see these situations where like a person, people think you should lose your method of earning money for your entire life because of like a tweet from 10 years ago or like something. Like, we evolve as humans. So I'm a fan of Nico. I like Nico. And so I would never say anything bad about Nico because he's my friend. I hope he gets a clean slate afterwards. That's all. Which disc golfer has the best backhand and best forehand? Best forehand is me. Reason for those picks can be the same player, two different players. So I think, okay, so I think I get the best sidearm. But that's because I believe in me. I played, for example, the 1030 round that I shot today at the Northwoods course. I threw all 18 drives sidearm because we were in the woods, and even though there were definitely some backhand shots, I wanted to make sure I hit my first gap, and I missed one gap out of 18 sidearm. Having said that, I think if you had to pick the best sidearm in the world right now, objectively, you would probably pick Chandler Kramer. I think he's got the best sidearm out there, with about 10 players like right on his tail, myself included. Chandler's sick, but I think you have to give him a little bit of a nod. Best backhand, I mean, Paul Eagle, Ricky Calvin, I mean, Simon Dickerson. I mean, that's a pick 'em. You know, even going down to like Gannon Burr and Drew Gibson and all these other people. I don't even know where to start with their, you know. So I mean, put all of the above. I'm sorry for having a dismissive answer. Not me. I won't put myself in that group. I got a very good backhand, but not as good as theirs. What's it like playing with Greg Barsby? Greg's great. Super professional. He's hilarious. He's super funny. He's a super nice guy. He's old school. He's been around. Like, he is definitely an elder statesman on the tour, right? Greg's a good guy. Love Greg. Do I still get pre-tournament jitters, and how do I overcome that? I don't. And it's not that I still get them. I never get them. You know, I just look. This is what I do. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. That my first tournament was in 1982, so my first tournament was 40 years ago. I don't get nervous. I mean, that's, and I'm not dismissing nerves and how they're a real thing. It's just that I've never not done this. I've taken breaks from disc golf, but I mean, I've always done this. And now I'm just in a different position where, like, I want to win so badly, but I don't, like, I don't lose anything if I lose a tournament. There's nothing to lose. So therefore, I don't have things that are at stake that I might have had 20 years ago. But I'm just more at home on the disc golf course than anywhere else. Like, it just it's my happy spot. One of them. So I don't really get nervous. Okay, I'm going to give a quick plug. Tour Series Marvel, Tour Series Wizard. or the Australian version. There you go. Australian version of the Marvel and the Wizard. Different colors available. You can buy 6 packs and 12 packs at scottstokely.net now. So if you like these as your putters and you want to putt with these, I would recommend buying 6 or 12 because you will be better at putting if you can practice with multiple of the same disc. I will say this every time I pitch this, which is if you don't putt with these, that's okay. There's other putters out there that are good, but make sure if you're putting with Lunas or AVRs or Judges that you also buy, 6, 10, 20 of those as well, because having multiple of the same putter is what is one of the things you need to do to get good. I mean, you just need a stack of practice putters to practice with. Do I have any good stories with the steady head? With steady Ed that I can share off the top of my head? Sure. I'll tell a story about Ed. So the Ed was okay. So by the way, we don't exist without Ed Hedrick. The things that Ed Hedrick did for disc golf, especially in the early days, like you cannot ever take away from what Ed did. We don't exist without Ed. So Ed is the first name on my Mount Rushmore. Ed was going to Parks Department, selling disc golf courses to Parks when he had to first explain what disc golf was to every single Parks Department. Explain what it was. Here's this thing that not only have you never heard of, but it's not in any other parks, but you should put it in your park, and you're going to have to pay me, and you're going to pay me to design the course. Like the audacity to think that you could start disc golf is insane. And Ed did it and succeeded at it. So cannot take anything away from Ed. Ed, however, for those of us who knew him, was a challenge. And I knew Ed well. A lot of people knew him better. Ed was a businessman who was very business driven. I don't know how else to say it. He had just some weird ideas. So one of the things that Ed did, for example, when DGA came out, Ed's like, "Hey Scott, I want you to throw DGA discs," and I'm like, "Well, no, I don't really. I got a sponsor. I'm throwing them. I mean, I got it. He's like, no. I just try these discs, and I'm like, "No, Ed." We're talking on the phone. I'm like, "No, Ed, I don't want. I got my discs." He's like, look, it's not gonna hurt. Let me just send you a box of discs to try. Okay, whatever. Here's my address. Go ahead and send. But I'm not gonna be, whatever. I'm not gonna be using them. It's like, yeah, I don't care. I'll send them to you. So he sends me a box of discs. I tried them. I don't think I was very impressed, but nor was I, I called it back. Thanks. I tried them. They're good, whatever, but I'm not going to be throwing them. He's like, that's cool. And then like a few weeks later, I get an invoice for the discs. And I called him back. I'm like, what do you send me an invoice for? He goes, well, you didn't think I was sending you those discs for free, did you? I said, yes, that's exactly what I thought. I didn't even want them. You just wanted me to try them. At the time, I'm like, I got like a world record, distance record. Like, you should want to get your discs in my hands. And not only that, I didn't even, he's like, no, I think you owe me for these discs. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay you for them. Like, and it wasn't a lot, probably a couple $100, just general principle. Every year, once a year for years after that, Ed sent me an invoice for those discs and I never paid it. But that experience with Ed, the people that know Ed are like, oh yeah, Ed. So there's the Ed story. And again, this does not mean that Ed is not my first name on Mount Rushmore. I liked Ed. Ed was my friend, but that was Ed. Is this plugged in?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're great. Yeah, classic Ed. What is the thing I love most about disc golf? Well, the easy answer and the true answer is the people. The most important people in my life have all been not disc golfers. They've come from the flying disc community because my original old school people are all Frisbee players. So I love the Frisbee community. I call myself a Frisbee player before a disc golfer because that's my origins. I grew up playing Frisbee golf, not disc golf. I grew up playing overall Frisbee, disc golf being one of the overall sports. But I will tell you that the best thing about the sport outside of the people for me is it's not the playing of the game as much as I love playing. It's the travel. I am a full-time nomad. I live on the road. We live on the road, and this sport is allowing me to be homeless, to put it
With
simply.
style.
Yeah, we're not poor. I've been on tour for many, many years, poor, paying my dues. It's not that I haven't it's not that I haven't done that, but now I'm not. Now I'm even making good money. But it's the life I've been able to live because of the sport. By far, that's that.
You've got like a little alfalfa.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's probably the biggest thing. I'm going to be leaving the country and traveling the world next year, and it's all doing disc golf stuff. And so, yeah, that's my happy spot. My happy spot is not in a house. My happy spot is being someplace different tomorrow. I noticed in the video, post yourself throwing to try to do the same quick backswing on your forehand. Is there any specific, or is it just my timing? Yeah, my timing. Everyone's body moves differently. I'll give the 50-cent version of the way I teach the game, and it's related to this. You cannot just do anything you want. There's absolutely a right and a wrong way to throw. There's certain rules you must follow. Biomechanics and physics trumps personal taste and style. You have to throw the right way. However, you cannot throw identical to other players because we all have different bodies, different sizes, different shapes, different amounts of muscle mass, different flexibility, different mobility, scar tissue, injuries. Our joints don't even align at identical angles to each other. You cannot. It is physically impossible to mimic another player's throw exactly. You cannot watch Paul and mimic Paul's timing exactly and then throw like Paul. Not because Paul's better or more athletic, it's because he has a different body than you. And if any of you have gone out there and tried to mimic a top player's throw exactly and it doesn't work, it's like, you know this. It's not your fault. You all have different bodies. So you can't do anything you want, but you also can't mimic a throw. Here's what you're left with. And this is what I believe with all my heart, and this is the core of how I teach disc golf. There are certain rules you must follow when you throw. That part's in stone. You can't throw any way you want to. You have to plant your foot first. You have to let your head go with the body. It doesn't stay forward. You're going to pull across your body where you're strongest. The wrist is going to stay straight. Like there's a certain number of rules you must follow. But after you follow those rules, your body moves individual to you in between those moves. Basically, you must do thing A, you must do thing B, you must do thing C, you must do thing D, etc. That's a rule. Those are rules. However, how your body moves from A to B or B to C or C to D is based entirely on your body, as long as you're hitting A, B, C, and D. So the way I teach is very strict rules to follow, but then you let your body figure out the other movements in between those. And between those two things, it's why it works for everybody, but it's also why everybody's style is going to be a little bit different, appearing different. But if you look closely, all good players are doing the exact same thing. All good players, for the most part, there's always exceptions, are all following the rules I lay out, but they all look differently because the areas where they're different, I won't make you do. That's up to you. So yes, the way my body moves is different than other players, but I don't break any of the rules. I plant first, I pull where I'm strongest, my wrist is straight, the head goes to the body, the weight's above the hips. So yeah, all like whether I was younger or older, it looks similar because my body's my body, but I'm still following those rules.
Ron Jones says you're a very coordinated giraffe.
A very coordinated giraffe. Wow, I've been called so many worse things than that. A very coordinated giraffe. I'm okay with that. Which disc golf course do you think can make better use of the property it sits upon? Oh God. Oh, I think that okay, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here because and this will relate to your question, Scott. Um I almost yelled at the parks department person in Cincinnati who's in charge of the park that the Idlewild disc golf course is in. Because Idlewild is one of the probably five or six, four, whatever best courses I've ever played. Idlewild is a masterpiece of a course. It's really, really hard. I mean, I was shooting around par, one under to like whatever, and that was like 990 and 1,000 rated. That course is really, really, really hard, but it's a masterpiece. It's a world class championship course. And I asked the guy at the parks department. I said, "Does this course stay in the ground all the time?" And by the way, if I get the details a little bit wrong, forgive me. But he says, "No, no, no. We had combined some of the holes, etc. It's actually we made 24 holes out of it, so we combined the holes. It's not the same course." I'm like, "Why would you do that?" And he says, "Oh, well, because it needs to be more family friendly." And I was like, "Really? It needs to be more family friendly?" I go, "How many courses do you have in Cincinnati?" And he says, "We have like 60." And I was like, "You got 59 family-friendly courses." Maybe Mount Airy. You got 58 family-friendly courses. Why does every course need to be family-friendly when you have a world-class championship course? Don't you think the amateurs want to come out and go out? Who cares if they come out and shoot 85? They shoot 85 and they look at and they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe Paul McBeth shot a 60. I'm 25 strokes away." Who cares? People go out to a high level. They go out to Pebble Beach and ball golf and shoot 110 and pay handsomely for it, even though the course kicks their butt. I don't know anything about golf, but there's these are championship courses. It's like you don't need every course doesn't have to be family friendly. You could have championship courses that all the other people in town can come out and challenge themselves at and see what the pros actually do. And I was like, why would you take down a masterpiece? You got an 18 hole. I'm like, please, for the love of God, please don't take this course down. It's, anyways. So as far as what course could make the best use of the property it sits upon, I would say that any course in a town where there are a bunch of courses, but no really hard par 67, 68 championship course, if you have a piece of land, you don't have to make every single course for everybody. Make a championship course. Amateurs aren't going to be mad if they're shooting 90, if they're playing one championship course. So long answer, this golf course can make better use of property upon any piece of property that has the ability to put in a long par 65, par 68 course when you're in a town and there's already a whole bunch of recreational courses, but no masterpiece. Build your Augusta in your town, have one of them, and leave it hard. Make it hard. But it'll be filled every day. So there you go. There, I went on my little soapbox there. How about that? You ever played Holy Rex in Michigan? It's a home course. I have not. Bacon, crispy or soft? Crispy. What do you mean? Obvious. It's a silly question. Crispy. Hey, Scott, first amateur tournament. Any advice on the mindset before the first tee? Yeah, I'm going to tell you all a story. And this is going to relate to the first hole jitters. I'm going to, I'm okay. This is the part, if you've heard this before, this is going to sound very familiar because I've given this soapbox a bunch of times, or soapbox rant. But this is the part where I poop all over sports psychologists. All those people that know way more about sports psychology than me, and they all got PhDs, and they've all written books, and they're all wrong, just about. At least a lot of them are. So I'm going to do it by way of telling a story about somebody who has first hole jitters, which was kind of more the question from earlier about first hole jitters, but it applies to you before the first tee. So the person says to me, "Hey, Scott, I keep getting first hole jitters. I always seem to bogey the first couple holes. I got like first hole jitters. Any advice?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you do when you hear the 2-minute horn?" And he says, all of this is, I'm just quoting him. He says, "Oh, I read this sports psychology book, and it said to," and I was like laughing to myself. I'm like, "Well, this book's not doing you a lot of good if you're asking me for help, right?" But he says, "I read the sports psychology book, and here's what the book says to do." All right, so you're at a tournament, or you're preparing for the tournament. So when I hear the 2-minute warning, the first thing I do is I walk over by myself, and then I close my eyes by myself. And I relax, and I imagine an imaginary line from this side of my head to this side of my head, an imaginary line from the front to the back, and an imaginary line from the top to the bottom. And I can kind of visualize them inside my head, but they're not touching, which means I'm not centered. Still don't know what that means, but that's what he said. He goes, "So I know I'm not centered. So what I do is I kind of focus, and I kind of try to move these lines around inside my head, and I keep moving them around until I finally like visually kind of see them converging at one point. And as soon as they do it, it kind of starts to glow. Then I know I'm centered. Now that I'm centered, I open my eyes and I take 3 deep breaths in through my nose, out through my mouth, 3 deep breaths. And I walk over, and then I got first hole jitters. And I was like, "Yes, of course you have first hole jitters." I go, "Let me paraphrase what this book said." The book says, "Okay, so you're at a tournament. How do we keep you from getting jitters?" Well, we're going to do it by making this tournament into a big a deal as it could possibly make it. Like, okay, so I know you play this golf all the time, but at the tournament, you got to first isolate from all your friends because you can't be around your friends. It's a tournament. You got to walk up by yourself. And then close your eyes, and you got to do mental tricks. I know you know how to play disc golf, but it's a tournament. Since it's a tournament, it's a big deal. It's going to take mental tricks. And then after you do a mental trick, the book says, now we're going to show you how to breathe. Oh, I know you've been breathing your whole life, but this is pre-tournament breathing. It's different. It's a tournament. It's like, of course you got first hole jitters. This book basically did everything in its power to make the tournament as big of a deal as possible to you. How in the world does that make any sense? That's going to be how you play better? That's insane. What you need to do if you have first hole jitters or the mindset before a tournament is what can you do to put your mind in a place where you're at your best? So I said to him, I go, "Do you get jitters before league night?" He says, "Well, no." "Okay, what do you do before league night?" And he says, "Well, I text my kids, make sure they're doing their homework." I go, "Well, that's what you do before a tournament. Text your kids. Put yourself in a league situation." I said, "Do you walk off by yourself before league night?" He goes, "No, I hang out with my friends." Then hang out with the players on your card. And if they're not your friends, make friends with them. Replicate where you're at your best. If you're at your best at a practice round, if you're at your best at a tournament, at league night, then do whatever you can to make that into league night. Yeah, it's still a tournament, right? I mean, you're still kind of trying to trick your brain, but replicate your practice round setting. So, for instance, like Adrienne and I, when I played great today, we didn't talk about disc golf once during the round because I'm replicating what I do when I practice and when we're hanging out at dinner. Like I'm replicating non-tournament settings. That's how I'm not nervous. If I actually said, "Okay, don't talk to me. I got to concentrate." got to focus. And like I would play so bad. So again, where do you play your best? Everything you can do to replicate that, that's what you should do. And as far as your first amateur tournament, the mindset before the tee is replicate where you have the most fun. It's league night. You're just playing Frisbee golf with your friends. That was a long one, but hey. What player's been the most frustrating to play against over the years? In other words, the one that used to always seem to have your number. It says Ken Climo. Of course it's Ken Climo. It was the most frustrating for everybody because he was the best in the world. He was the Michael Jordan. And when you're Karl Malone or Charles Barkley, like, wow, you're really, really, really good. Every time you're not playing against Michael. And when you're playing against Michael, you're not good enough. And so that has been by far the most frustrating because he didn't have a rival until Barry Schultz. I think Steve Valencia in the early 90s, and I'm not saying C.R. Willie wasn't a rival of his, and I'm not saying that Ron Russell wasn't a rival of his, and I'm not I mean, there were people that would beat him for sure, but he didn't really have a real rival for a decade, more than a decade. He won almost everything. So yeah, that was very frustrating. I mean, I finished second twice at the World Championships, once by 4 strokes, once by 7 strokes. And back then we played 9.5 rounds. So that's 19 rounds of golf. In 2 years, I played 19 rounds of golf and lost by 11 strokes. So I lost by just over a half stroke around to him, but still lost twice. One of those tournaments, I was way ahead of third place and still 4 behind him. I tried. Ever played Grand Central Station in South Carolina? I have not. I had no idea you're 10 feet tall until today. Yeah, everybody says that. They're like, wow, you're way taller than I thought. And I'm like, well, do you watch me on your phone? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's because I'm this big on your phone. Hey, real quick plug. Couple things. I'll make it quick. Stokely Universe shirts at scottstokely.net. The coolest shirts in all of disc golf. And I'm not even going out on a limb when I'm saying this. I don't say everything I sell is the best of everything. I'll say that about the shirts. These shirts are so sick. My book, scottstokely.net. Buy the book or the audiobook read by me. You can buy Tour Series Wizards and Tour Series Marvels in 6-packs or 12-packs now and save a bunch of money. And having a stack of identical discs for putting is way better than putting 1 or 2 discs and having to retrieve them. And one more real quick, and then I'll answer the question. Stokely barbecue sauce. Texas smoky. See the letter D? Huh? Uh-huh. Carolina vinegar with the letter I. Kansas City barbecue. S. And California spicy. C. And I dropped out of high school to play Frisbee golf all day, so I have no idea what those 4 letters spell. I think letters make up words, right? Is that right? How that works?
The artist said that's what it was. So.
Okay, so the artist said the letters made up words. So I don't know what those words spell, nor do I know what the next 4 flavors of barbecue sauce are going to be if these are successful. But yeah. All right, next question. Will I continue these talks throughout Europe and lands beyond? Okay, so basically I'm doing a live stream every Friday night and for the month of August, and I'm just trying to see if the numbers increase. Let's see what the numbers do. If the numbers are increasing every week, even a little bit, but this is growing and people are enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. It's super fun. If it winds up, people lose interest, I'll stop. But yeah, for sure. I'm going to be doing everything I can do remotely. My online classes, things like this, I want to do because that allows me to travel. Will you give some advice playing for rainy conditions? Thanks, Scott. Big fan from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you. Yeah, the best advice, and I'm not trying to dismiss you, but I made a great video. I think the well, I'm pretty proud of all the videos I make um, about how to play in the rain on my YouTube channel. And anything I do now is going to tell you now will pale in comparison to watching the Scott Stokely rain golf video, because that's where I break down and I actually show you on video step by step. There's a process I used to keep my discs dry. It didn't work in Cincinnati because I let the wind blow my umbrella off my cart and I left the top open. But that's rare. That's happened once in my life. It just happened to be last month. So I would say just go watch the rain video. You're going to get way more information than I would give. Your thoughts from my limited perspective. I noticed better players coming from wooded technical courses for their home course. Yes, I think what the best players are coming from courses that have a variety. Um, there's definitely something to be said for learning how to play in the woods, but if you just play woods golf, you'll never develop massive power, or not you won't develop it on the course anyways. And then vice versa. Like if you're a power player, you don't learn woods golf. So you have to play. I mean, the best golfers are going to come from courses. Well, if you see, it used to be like the benefit to your home course, but now everybody lives in a city with like 9 courses or 49 courses. So now it's not as big of a deal. There's going to be courses of all different types now. So, but it used to be that it was people would specialize because there was only one course in town. If the course in your town was a wooded course, you weren't a power player probably, and vice versa. What plastic are those wizards? This is super soft, which means it's pretty flexible, but it's still fairly stiff. It's not floppy, but it has definitely some give to it. What do you like and dislike about Northwoods Black? There's not a single thing I dislike about Northwoods Black. It is a masterpiece. I've used that term several times, but I don't use it often. It just happens. We were talking about Idlewild and Eagles Crossing. Northwoods Black is unbelievable because every single hole in the course is hard. Like there's no birdies out there that you don't feel good about. And the every hole is hard, um, but every hole is fair. There's no real luck out there. I mean, you could clip a tree and because you hit it the wrong spot, it like shoots off, deep into the woods, but you had to hit the tree for that to happen. Um, I feel like the fairways are good. The fairways are fair. All the pars are correct, even though a par is 1,020 rated, or I shot one under, it was 1,029, I think. So par was like 1,022 rated. That doesn't mean the pars were wrong. Typically like on a hard course, par is about 1,000 rated, and it plays 4 strokes harder, but all the pars are right. Like if a hole, I don't care how wooded it is. If it's a 700-foot hole and you got to throw 350 and then 350, even if it's super tight woods, it's a par four, right? And if it's if it's 850 feet through the woods, it's still a par four because it's a couple 425-foot shots. It's just a par four that's really hard to get or hard to get a four on. The course is great. I wish, like, if we played that course every single weekend of the pro tour, I think I'd have some great finishes there because, like, I love it. Am I excited to play Pickerton, Iowa next weekend? That's the first time I've heard about Pickerton, Iowa. I'm assuming that's the course for the Des Moines Challenge. Sorry, I'm like so focused on the next thing in front of me. I didn't even know what courses we were playing in Iowa. I would look it up on Tuesday night as we're driving into town. But I'm excited to play Des Moines. Last time I played the Des Moines Challenge, I kind of won 25 years ago. And that's not an exaggeration. Can I try out one of those discs the way Steady Ed wanted you you to try out his discs. You can order a 6-pack off scottstokely.net.
Last question.
Last question. If I had to pick a doubles partner, male or female, for a doubles match, who would they be? Danny Clyden.
Good answer.
Danny Clyden. She is my mixed doubles partner at the Disc Golf Professional Mixed Pairs World Championships. She is a Castaplast player, and she's really good. And I think we're gonna tear it up. I feel very good about it. I'm playing really good golf. She's playing good golf. I think we can roll. I think we're going to step up and surprise some people. And by some people, I think we may step up and surprise a lot of people.
Okay, last.
My favorite hole at Northwoods Black, and what do you think about hole 12? Hole 12 was my favorite hole at Northwoods Black, and the reason why it was, among other things, it was my double bogey. No, I love hole 12. You have to execute your shot just to get before the ravine. Then you have to throw up the ravine. You have to throw through a tunnel. If you mess up your, like, you make it the first 750 feet through the woods, down a ravine, up a ravine, over a bridge. You make it to your first like 700 or 800 feet on the hole, and the last 200 feet has a cliff off to the side that if you click a tree and go off the cliff, you're taking 2 throws to get back up off the cliff. That hole is so hard. I mean, I like hard holes. I could play that hole. I could play 18 of those holes, and like I would score really well out there. That is, yeah, hole 12 is just about the best hole in the world. And I lost. Okay, last plug. I'm curious to see our totals because we still have 90 people in the room. Last plug. It does not matter. I sorry if you all have heard this little spiel before, but even though I sell Tour Series Wizards and Marvels, those are the 2 discs I putt with, I can never see, that's the Australia Marvel again. I can never tell you that these are the best putters. I can tell you the Harp I think is the best overstable mid-range. I can tell you that the Assassin is going to be coming out and it's a great roller disc. Like I mean, these are things I can say. Putters are individual. There's no such thing as a bad putter. So whatever putter you choose is going to be good for you. These are the 2 that I use, Circle 1 and Circle 2. If you like putting these discs, either one of these, buy. I now offer 6-packs and 12-packs at scottstokely.net, where you can get a discount if you buy 6 or 12 of these. By the way, I will be on for the foreseeable future every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm doing live stream, but both of these discs are available, 6-pack and 12-pack at scottstokely.net. You can buy the coolest disc golf shirt ever from Creative Rob at scottstokely.net. This is part of the Stokely Universe collection. By the way, when you go to scottstokely.net, if you get on my mailing list, you'll be notified about upcoming online classes, seminars, clinics. Buy my book, audiobook, or print copy through scottstokely.net. And I got 4 flavors of barbecue sauce. We've got Texas Smoky, Carolina Vinegar, Kansas City Sweet, and California Spicy. This sauce is really good. If you buy the sauce, please take pictures of you eating the sauce and put it up in social media and tell people about how good the sauce is. I'm not telling you to tell people how good they are. Just give your honest opinion. But I think you're gonna love these. If you like barbecue sauce, then like you're gonna like these. I eat barbecue all over the country. Like I'm a connoisseur of barbecue, and this sauce is good. I didn't create it. It was created by people who are experts at making sauce. But I give my approval on those. But thanks, y'all. Was there anything else? All right. Well, I'm going to get some sleep so I can smash it tomorrow. I need to, I think I can shoot. I think if I shoot a couple 4-unders, I think I move into the top 20. And I think that's incredibly possible. So thanks, everyone.